Good morning, everyone, and welcome into the Fan Morning Show along with James Boyd. I'm Jeff Rickard, Mark Dykton today. Kevin Bowen is off. He will take his little adventure to Wrigley Field this weekend. We hope that he's having a good time. So, Mark, just me and James today, like we're not worthy of a big intro or anything like that?
That was a big intro. Man? What do you mean? We're month of May here. We're May 1st.
I'm just giving you a bad time. It is the month of May, and it is a big intro. And I'm being a little sarcastic there because we were on the golf course all day long yesterday. When guys are playing golf together, everything is sarcastic.
How was it, Jeff?
We had a good time. I was with Chris Denari, Bob Kravitz, and we had a great time hooking up with, and I'll tell you why it's interesting, because Eddie White was also a cornerstone there. Bob Kravitz and I, as a lot of people know, did a morning show together in Denver a long time ago when I was first getting started in this business. And then Eddie and Bob did a radio show for several years here in Indianapolis as well. And Chris Denari is just one of the best guys in the world, and we had a great time. Enjoyed it, and I know there are about 140 other golfers that had a great time too. And wouldn't you know it, that former Major League Baseball players had the best score. Tucker Barnhart, Drew Storen, and their group shot a 54.
That is incredible.
That's
insane.
Shout out
to our friends of the show. Great turnout yesterday down in Franklin at Legends Golf Course. I did not swing any clubs because I did not want to hurt anybody.
But you were out and about.
I was out there. But yeah, I enjoyed, getting a chance to talk to and mingle with a lot of our P1 listeners and supporters each and every weekday. So definitely don't want to take that for granted. We can't really do a radio show if nobody listens. So thank you all. And shout out to my guy J-Law as well. Big IU fan. Spent a lot of time talking to him yesterday. Had some health challenges. Glad that he's back on the mend and training in the right direction.
That's always good news to hear. Mark Dykton, you were going to go to the golf tournament yesterday, but the never-ending series of plumbing issues that started in your house are finally getting taken care of yesterday.
They are getting taken care of. Shout out to Swing Co. I was on the schedule for 2 weeks from now, and they called me earlier this week. They said, hey, we had a cancellation. We can get you in Thursday, Friday. Would you like to move it up 2 weeks? I'm like, of course. So the outing was going to have to take a hit, but I was like, it's probably better I'm at the home and make sure everything's all going great. So far, so good. Those guys are doing an awesome job. Shout out to Adam and Thomas and all them. So they'll be back out there today, hopefully wrapping it up.
Yeah, a little bit later on, I'll give a complete shout out to all the folks that helped out the golf tournament sponsors and people that showed up. Matt Taylor was there. Billy Brooks was there. Pat Knight was there, just to name a few. And we'll be talking about that throughout the day. But, man, it was a good – did you have – and I will say this. Mark, do you remember this from last year, I think? At lunch, as you go through the turn, the Legends Golf Course has the legendary, I think it's the kitchen or something like that, that provides the lunch. I am not a tenderloin guy. No, I've had them. They're okay. They're okay, James. Don't get me wrong. But generally, I'm not a big fried food guy.
Right.
That's
fair.
But
I just feel like you got to tread lightly in Indiana saying you don't like the pork tenderloin.
But I'm going to tell you this. There are tenderloins, and then there are those legendary tenderloins. Those things are fantastic at that golf course. Have you had those, Mark? Do you remember them from last year?
I had them last year, and I wanted to take a baker's dozen home with me because they were outstanding. They were incredible. and anyone who got more meal tickets here? Yeah. I'll take more.
And, James, I've had many tenderloins because I'm in here. I don't say no to them necessarily. But it's like anything else in life. There's something, and then there's something. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Whatever it happens to be.
Yes.
That was that. A wild night in the NBA last night. We'll get to the Fever preseason game
Your boy was there.
On. Yeah, I know. And that's when I realized I wasn't going to text back that you were in the probably in the middle of a post-game press conference or something like that.
Yeah, I think you texted me, and I was in the middle of trying to figure out if Caitlin Clark was injured or not. She's fine, to be clear. But, boy, it was getting a little busy there. You go to the game, Jeff. Yeah. I was at the preseason game. I'm going to relax. Had a pretty long day out at the golf course. Went straight from there to Gamebridge. And I'm thinking to myself, all right, I got to write. I always joke with my friends. I got 500 words till freedom, whatever it is.
Right.
And then she, has an awkward landing. And I'm like, do I have to work a lot now? Is this a big deal? But
how quiet was that
fine.
arena?
Yeah, it got a little quiet there for sure, but I think the Fever fans are relieved to only take a loss and not a major loss when it comes to the lineup. So Caitlin said she's fine, just to get that out of the way nice and early. But, yeah, Jeff, that's why I didn't text you back. But I did kind of see a couple of different scores, and I'm sure the one text you sent me was probably about one particular game.
Yes, I sent you the text of essentially was, are you watching this? Because you know who sent me the text? I was chilling out with my 16-year-old son, and we were doing something, and I got a text from Chris Denari, and I thought it was just going to be, hey, man, we had a great time today, and following up on that because we had been texting back and forth the group there. and he basically said the same thing. Are you guys watching Knicks and Hawks? When he texted us, and I don't know how much anybody knows about this game, Mark, you're obviously familiar with the game doing what we do for a living, but the text that he sent me was, it's, I think, 71-22 with like 5 minutes to go in the second quarter. And at one point, they were up 60 in the third quarter, James. They were up 60 early in the third quarter.
Caw-caw. The Hawks are dead.
At halftime, Shaq is giving a stuffed hawk the resuscitation, doing the CPR compressions.
Man, the Knicks had some fried hawk yesterday. I never had it myself, but it looked like it was pretty good.
Man, it was crazy. Yeah. Denary writes in, Knicks lead Hawks 60-19 with 7+ left in the second quarter of Game 6. I said, what? Just tuned in. Wow. And then Denary writes me back almost simultaneously, 71-22. He says he's mowing the lawn, and Steve Holman of the Hawks and the radio play-by-play voice was losing his mind.
Yeah, that was rough. That was certainly something. We saw a couple of different series go a couple of different ways yesterday, and I'm sure we'll get into more of that throughout the morning check down throughout the show. And as for your Colts deadline purposes, today is the day, people.
Oh.
If the Colts pick up Anthony Richardson's fifth-year option, worth a fully guaranteed $22.5 million in 2027. The answer is probably no. The answer is no, but shout out to the Dean, Mike Chappell. He was able to get that on the record, or at least get it out there and report it. I have tried, to also do my due diligence, and yeah, there's been some weird responses. All I can say is that we all know it is not going to happen, so why not just say that?
Wow. So let me ask you this, because we've been playing this game over the last few days. When the day started yesterday, we played the what's more likely to happen game. Remember that?
Yeah.
What's more likely to happen? If I'd have said this to you yesterday at 4 o'clock when you're leaving the golf course, and I'd have said to you, James, what's more likely? The Knicks win by 50 tonight, or the Colts re-sign Anthony Richardson? You probably still would have said the Knicks win by 50, wouldn't you?
I really would have, yeah. I mean, there's just no way. And to me, it kind of signifies the overall career of Anthony Richardson in Indy and how it's coming to an end, whether that's via trade, via release, or if you do bring him back for one more year, whatever, the end is near. Because if you bring him back for the upcoming season, he's going to be your third stringer. Get through the season, he becomes a number 2 free agent. Are you going to re-sign him?
Mm-hmm.
No, you're not. So there we have it. It's just, kind of a sad state of affairs for how things have gone with Anthony. But I think also the fan base has, for the most part, moved on to the will Daniel Jones be ready thing by week 1. I mean, this is newsworthy solely because of where he was picked and him being a former first-round pick. Because the quality of player relative to where he was drafted, if we took the draft spot away, Jeff, we're not having this conversation if he's a 3rd, 4th round, 5th round pick.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. But, aside from that, we're just getting ready for the month of May. First day of May. I like the second day of May better because the first day I have to pay the bills.
And this weather stinks today.
Yeah. You know what, Mark? I got up this morning and you know me, I'll be here at 6:59, on the dot. And the one time I don't wear a hoodie, you guys know I wear hoodies all the time. I wore a hoodie yesterday. To the golf outing. I almost wore my coat, but fortunately it was a little warmer. I didn't have to bring out the long johns.
Inside.
Yeah, I didn't have to bring out the long johns, Mark. But boy, a little rainy today. I did not enjoy that.
No, not fun. Not fun. Cold and rainy. And I'm like, are we getting spring at some point? Because it feels like we're just in this kind of space of just rain and coldness lately that we can't break out of.
Preach, brother.
Well, being down at Legends yesterday, talked to the great Ted Bishop, who is just fantastic and does a great job in hosting us every year down at the Legends. And he had said that in their area, in the few days leading up to the tournament, they'd gotten almost 3 inches of rain. You never would have known it. The course was in fantastic condition. I didn't see puddles or sloppiness or anything anywhere other than some golf. But he did a fantastic job down there. And, man, I woke up this morning. First thing you do is let the dog out, and you see that it's raining. You're like, man, everybody, fortune was shining on us yesterday, wasn't it?
Yes, I enjoyed myself. A shout out to, again, all the listeners who came out, supported us, and, had a chance to kind of see how the sausage is made.
Yeah, and Harley D was out there. Did you see his Playboy shorts and his bright pink
Yeah, good dude, man.
golf?
Good dude.
Amazing
And-
dude, and supports us in almost everything that we do. So many of the listeners do, and we saw so many. And then, like I said, we'll get to a lot of it later on. But go ahead.
I know I was wanting to kind of throw you a lob here. It wasn't just for us. Franciscan Health,
Yes,
partnering with them. If you want to hit on that a little bit, raised a lot of money for that. I know JMV certainly did.
which was the reason we
with
did
this
the whole
shooting
thing.
contest. Yeah. So that was always something that, again, I talked to you all. My aunt is currently going through chemo. She's going to win. That's what we do in our family. But certainly something that isn't lost on me when it comes to any type of health causes that we raise money for to help support families.
And Franciscan across the board is an unbelievable partner with the fan, not
Yeah.
just in the golf tournament. So many different things. They are so committed to keeping people healthy and trying to prevent you. How about that? A hospital that wants to prevent you from getting sick.
Hey,
In today's
I'll take that.
world.
I'll take that.
In today's world, you don't see that all the time. So, great time out there. Everybody did a fantastic job. Amanda Baker, who pulled the whole thing together for us, our marketing director, she was out there. So many others. It's one of those events where it's all hands on deck. Anybody that touches the fan was pretty much out there helping with registration, making sure people got the stuff that they needed. Want to thank the guys from Mizuno from going out there and helping us out. We had a great time. Just so many sponsors to get to. Like I said, we'll do it a little bit later on because it'll take 5 minutes to thank everybody. That's how comprehensive it was.
Yeah, there
It
you go.
really was. All right, we're going to get started with the business of sports. And also, I don't know if you saw yesterday, James, quick update. In the search for my wallet, I guess they didn't get the message in time. Did you see the 8 military helicopters that did the flyby of the tournament yesterday?
I did not see that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we were in probably the beginning of the back nine, and all of a sudden there they were. 8 of
Nice.
them flew right over our tee box.
Surprised they didn't rappel down and say, Mr. Rickard, we're still on the search, sir.
They did. They did. They took over for the state patrol at one point, Mark.
There you go.
All right, that's what's going on. It is the month of May, and in Indianapolis and all of Indiana, that means one thing. The Indianapolis 500 countdown is on. The Sanzio Grand Prix is coming up in a few weeks. We'll keep you up to date on everything that's happening there. But it's the Fan Morning Show at 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Who is?
The Morning Checkdown on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
All right, we will start with what was happening over at the Fieldhouse last night. The Indiana Fever playing the second of their preseason games this year, this time against Paige Beckers and the Dallas Wings. The score came out on top of Dallas last night. 95-80 was the final score there. Caitlin Clark had 21 points, but everybody in the Fieldhouse collectively held their breath after this.
Dallas in transition. It's stolen by Caitlin, and Clark lays it in on the right side. Uncontested.
It's hard to say at the time, but she came up after a sequence there. She had banged her knee apparently on the floor, and she was in obvious discomfort for a minute, was hopping around, and everybody was like, uh-oh, what just happened, James?
Yeah, Stephanie White said after the game, it's one of those things where you can probably see it on her face, like how severe it is. But she was fine. She made that very clear to us. I'm not sure what her availability will be for tomorrow's preseason finale against the Nigerian national team. But I say that knowing that the Fever have actually had 3 preseason games as opposed to 2 like most WNBA teams. So if there is, some sort of minutes restriction or she doesn't play or somebody else doesn't play, don't think that it's some huge red flag because, again, it's probably better to try to keep those players fresh for the real thing come next Saturday at Gainbridge Fieldhouse.
All right, so that's what's coming up for them. And, of course, they played last night without a couple of key starters, Aaliyah Boston and Lexi Hull, for one. 2 of the 5 projected starters were not available last night.
And, again, that sounds more precautionary than anything. And that first quarter, boy, I thought that Caitlin Clark scoring the basketball looked a lot better than the preseason opener against the Liberty. And then Raven Johnson, the first-round pick this year, continues to impress. I'm wondering how much she's going to force Stephanie White. And actually, Stephanie White said it after the game. It's going to be hard to keep her on the bench, and we got to find minutes for her in a tough rotation. So she's doing a good job so far.
Outstanding. We had a record-setting night in the NBA last night. If you're just waking up and you had other things going on, the New York Knicks did close out their series against the Atlanta Hawks in Atlanta. 4-2 was the final count. but the way in which it happened. There was a record-breaking first half, and at the end of it, the Knicks would end up winning by 51 points. They led by as many as 60 early in the third quarter. It was just insane. I believe they went on a 60-11 run after trailing by 2 early in the game, James. When was the last time you heard somebody say a 60-11 run in the NBA playoffs? Never.
The Hawks are dead.
Shaq was trying to revive them during the halftime show last night.
Ooh, yeah, that was rough. I just couldn't believe some of that score, and honestly, I was thinking that ain't basketball, so I don't really want to watch it.
OG Anunoby, 29 points. Mikal Bridges had 24. Karl Anthony Towns had 12 points, 11 rebounds, and 10 assists. Meanwhile, James, I got to give you props, man. You were one of the few, the proud, that predicted the Minnesota Timberwolves, without 3 of their top scorers, would close out Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets at home. Jaden McDaniels had 32 points. And Minnesota came up with a 110-98 victory over the Nuggets. Your guy, Jaden McDaniels, had 32 points and 10 rebounds.
Yeah, it was great. That has to be one of the all-time best trash-talking plus backing it up moments in NBA history. I think it was, after Game 3, they're all bad defenders. Go at the bad defenders. And he names them. Jokic, Murray, all of them. Loved it. Backed it up with 32 points, a career high last night. Nikola Jokic was typically brilliant, but really, I thought he still wasn't probably as efficient as he wanted to be. And Jamal Murray was awful. If you want to, pin it on somebody, it's probably him. He's got to own that. You're the co-star. I think he was 4 for 17 because Jaden McDaniels was locking him down.
He also had no turnovers, McDaniels, last night. First time in the NBA playoffs this year, we've had 30 points, 10 rebounds, and 0 turnovers.
Yeah, he played great. Nikola Jokic loses in the first round, so that's going to come with some big questions about the pieces that are put around him in Denver.
Well, trying to avoid the whole Antetokounmpo situation, immediately in the postgame, Nikola Jokic said, I want to be a Nugget. I love it here. I want to be a Nugget the rest of my life.
Yeah, the other guys just can't say that.
Also, the Philadelphia 76ers knocking on the door. They have evened their series with the Boston Celtics at 3 games apiece. 106-93 in Philly last night. Tyrese Maxey had 30. Paul George had 23 points. I was reading a piece yesterday out of Philadelphia that said, for as great as Joel Embiid is, as great as Tyrese Maxey has been, night in, night out, Paul George may be their most consistent player right now.
I don't know if I can get with that, but
That's
he has played well.
Yeah. Anyway, the series is all tied up at 3 in that one. Later on tonight, 3 more games. Detroit and Orlando go to Game 6. This one is in Orlando. What do you think of that one right now? That could go. That's really, truly one that could go either way.
Just give me Game 7s at this point. I mean, I think the Lakers play the Houston Rockets tonight.
In Houston?
Let's go to Game 7. Who cares at this point? I mean, when I'm not covering a team and, worried about how much sleep I'm going to get the upcoming week or things like that, Pacers aren't in it. I think you just should root for chaos if you're a basketball fan.
Who pushes it to 7 tonight? Magic, Raptors, or Rockets? Or multiple
Ooh,
teams?
I'm going to say the Magic lose. Detroit forces Game 7. I'm going to say the Raptors force a Game 7. And I'm going to say LeBron James and company close it out in Houston, just because I feel like losing 3 games in a row would really put a lot of pressure on them. I know they're on the road, but you still have LeBron James on your side, and I think they get it done in Houston.
And, Mark, I don't know if we actually made a bet yesterday, but in the spirit of it, I'm going to take you to lunch soon at Harry and Izzy's for the sliders. How about that, James?
I don't even know what the bet was.
Oh, dang, Mark, you're not invited. So
I know.
I didn't say he wasn't invited
I'm just joking,
necessarily.
but it was
Did you see how quick he was to disinvite you, though, Mark?
I know. I got the quick.
mean, hey,
I got the Heisman
the
real
quick
quick.
one.
when your blessings come in, I start to stiff arm. I don't want everybody else coming in getting a little piece of what I got. But I do think, in all seriousness, I figured that would kind of go that way because Nikola Jokic had to play nearly perfect. And he was great last night, but he wasn't perfect. And that's what was required of him to kind of win this series. And it speaks to the level of talent or lack thereof around him currently.
And I'll also later on today compare the situation in both Denver and Minnesota to Indiana, and it'll highlight just how amazing Kevin Pritchard and Chad Buchanan have been for this
Ooh,
team
okay.
for a long
Okay.
period of time. Also, it is the month of May. Time for a Hensley Legal Group Command Center report. It happens. Hire Hensley. A little bit quiet yesterday at the track, but it is May the 1st. There will be all kinds of things happening in and around Indianapolis over the next 3.5 weeks or so, James, leading up to the Indianapolis 500. We've got the San Joe Grand Prix a week from Saturday. All kinds of storylines, all kinds of drivers you'll be hearing from right here on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. And, of course, Monday through Friday, every evening at 7 o'clock, you'll have Trackside with Kevin Lee and Kurt Cavan. That'll be followed by Mike Thompson and Jake Query for Beyond the Bricks, because we get you covered in the month of May here on The Fan.
Yeah, we got a couple staples of May, I would say, in Indianapolis coming on the show today. Greg Rickstraw coming on at 8 o'clock. And then we also have Doug Bowles.
Closing the show out.
Yeah, closing the show out. He's great. I mean, I always laugh at those T-shirts that I see, Doug Bowles for president, because honestly,
Stuff would get done.
with the way he runs, with the way he runs the 500 and make sure that everything is up and at him, yes, I would certainly consider voting for him.
And
Yeah,
the
there's-
plan for Doug, by the way, is to have him on every Friday through Carb Day.
Oh, let's
That's
go.
the plan.
Love it.
So that must mean a live appearance on Carb Day.
There are two
you
guys
know
I'd
it.
vote for president anymore. It would certainly be Doug Bowles would be my number one, but also the John Tapper guy from Bar Rescue. That dude could get anything done, I think. Don't you think? Just turn it around, Kevin or Mark. Don't you think?
Yeah, sure.
Let's go. All right. Major League Baseball last night. It was a fairly shortened schedule, but the Reds did play at home. They beat the Colorado Rockies by a score of 6-4. Also last night, we had the Indianapolis Indians losing to Memphis 5-2 was the final score in that one. So that's Major League Baseball for you. And you mentioned it at the top of the show. Today is, quote-unquote, decision day for the Colts on Anthony Richardson.
Yes, shout out to the Dean, Mike Chappell. He reported it yesterday. The Colts will not pick up Anthony Richardson's fifth-year option worth a fully guaranteed, or what would have been worth a fully guaranteed $22.5 million in 2027. So I'm sure the official announcement will come at some point later today. I believe the deadline is like 4 p.m. Eastern time. So Chap's on it, but also not taking credit for his reporting. He's an outstanding reporter, but all of us with a brain knew this wasn't going to happen.
All right, that's what's happening in the world of sports. Unless there's something else you want to throw in right now, we've got all morning to talk about stuff.
No, again, enjoyed the golf outing yesterday. I was thankful for you all listening to us here on these airwaves. So you're the reason I don't have a real job, and I don't take it for granted.
All right, that's the check down for 7 o'clock hour, brought to you by Bet365. With Bet365 early payout, you win even if they lose. Get paid out instantly when your team goes up big, even if they blow the lead later. Bet365, winning is everything. If you've got a gambling problem, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT, 21 and over only. Must be physically located in Indiana. A little bit of rain out there right now. Is it going to continue all day? Let's find out right now from Fox 59 meteorologist Jim O'Brien.
Shower chances will continue across the area for today, but more limited in coverage throughout the afternoon. Still a cool day to open up May with a high at 54. Tonight, a frost advisory with clearing skies and a low tonight down to 35. I'm Fox 59 meteorologist Jim O'Brien for The Fan.
been the slammer from St. Louis to Memphis, from Texas back up to Indiana, Chi-Town, KC, Motown to Alabama, LA, New York Yankees, sluggers, Hotland, Louisiana, getting paid off this country grammar, smoking.
Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Indeed it is. Kevin Bowen is off today. I think he's on his he's with one of his buddies who's getting married, bachelor party up at Wrigley Field tomorrow. Is it today or tomorrow? They're
Tomorrow.
at the game?
Why is he off today then? It doesn't take that long to get to Chicago, for God's sake. What a waste of
he's not used to the drive, Mark. He ain't built for it. For me, it's in my blood. I'm making the drive later today. I know what time to leave before I hit the rush hour traffic, all types of stuff. But I'm happy for him because from what I understand, it's a great experience.
I'm just going to assume he had too many hard Mondos last night on the Fan Invitational, so he's taking a day off.
Yeah, there were a couple of cans left around there, so, hopefully Mr. Bowen behaved himself after we got off the air.
Let me tell you something. Mr. Bowen, I give him credit, man. He stood there on the 15 tee, and he provided drives, most of those drives going into the fairway, for every single foursome that came along. Think about that. That's all day long. Sun, probably a Mondo or two. Who knows?
That's a bare minimum he could have done. He could have provided Kevin Bowen burgers for everybody. Saw Evan Sherrill was out there, and my God, come on, Kevin.
Yeah,
You're standing
Evan
there
was there.
swinging a stick every 10 minutes. I think you can handle it.
Shout out to my boy Evan Sherrill. Gave JMV a run for his money on the shooting contest.
Did
I don't
he?
think that he won.
I didn't see that.
But yeah, I met his brother, and again, just another great P1 listener. You don't get a chance to see all these people in person all the time, so I enjoyed that, man. It was like a family reunion yesterday.
Yeah.
Vibes are great.
Matt Taylor was out there saying hi to everybody on the first tee and sending them off with a nice little intro there. Casey Valier, who's also on the broadcast, was there, and Bill Brooks was there as well from the Colts. But the Colts, they're going to be making some news of some kind today. I think we know what to expect. I think there's a lot of suspense there, but news nevertheless, James.
Yeah, so today is the deadline for them to pick up the fifth-year option on Anthony Richardson. To put all this kind of into context, when a player is drafted in the first round, they initially sign a 4-year contract. And then the team has the option of picking up the fifth year on their contract, usually worth a significantly more amount of money. And usually, with the first-round pick, most teams pick up that fifth-year option. This happened actually a couple years ago, maybe even just last year with Kwity Paye. I believe Kwity Paye was a 2021 first-round pick for the Colts. Wasn't a great player, but they picked up his fifth-year option because he was a pretty solid player for them. Certainly was not viewed in the same light as Anthony Richardson when it comes to like the production of the pick and how good you've been. So in regards to Anthony, the answer has been very clear, and it was clear as soon as he got benched officially full-time last year for Daniel Jones that they were not going to pick up his fifth-year option. So shout out to the dean, Mike Chappell, Fox 59. He got that on the record yesterday, reported it, and we should see some sort of official announcement or perhaps more leaks or something later today, because the bottom line is no one is going to give Anthony Richardson that amount of money, especially knowing that or not knowing that he can see fully. I think that's the conversation. And even if he could, just the lack of production rather, is not going to get you a chance to necessarily get paid at that amount. And keep in mind, with quarterback, that guaranteed money is a lot higher than it is for example, a defensive end like Kwity Paye.
While we're talking about the quarterback situation, Chris Ballard was a guest of Rich Eisen on ESPN Radio this week. Did you see that?
Yeah, I got to get him on the James Boyd podcast.
I know. And Rich Eisen asked him about Daniel Jones and whether or not he thinks he'll be ready to play in week 1.
It wasn't an easiest one to get done because, he didn't finish the season out and then having the Achilles. So we needed to find a common, and I'll give athletes first and Brian Murphy and Andrew Kessler a lot of credit. They worked hard on this, as we did, to find common ground. And it's usually when you get one done that at any big contract you get done, both sides are going to sting a little bit. You're not going to get everything you want. And you're probably going to go a little higher than you wanted, and they probably went a lower than they wanted. But that's part of the negotiation. And look, the last thing I want for a player, Rich, I think sometimes this is what the world forget these are human beings, and like you don't ever want a guy to sign with you and then be looking around going, man, these guys just screwed me. Like you don't want that's not good for your team. It's not good for the players. Not good for morale. But he played well enough to where we were willing to bet and say, okay, we think he's got a really bright future here, and the money we're going to pay him is going to be worth it. And I truly believe that, and I think ownership does, and Shane and the rest of the group.
So he basically kind of, we'll see on week one, but got into the contract situation pretty soon during that conversation.
Yeah, I mean, we told you all along throughout the offseason that it was Daniel Jones and no one else. And I know sometimes that can be frustrating for the fan base to say, well, why aren't they thinking about somebody else? Kyler Murray, this, and other quarterbacks. But I'm telling you, man, they love Daniel Jones. And in some aspects, rightfully so. The dude is tough as all get out. Played on a broken leg. Probably would have played through a torn Achilles if he could. That seriously. And then well-respected in the locker room, well-liked in the locker room. You ask the different guys about his leadership style and his camaraderie and how he brings guys in. It sounds like it is a really friendly dude. Not to perhaps the media because he's so stone cold to me or just really kind of boring, but he sounds like a really good dude. The problem is, at least from my aspect, is the injury history.
Yep.
I can't trust you to stay healthy. It's not a matter of if Daniel Jones cares, if he is a good leader, if he's even like a relatively good football player, because we've seen when he has the proper infrastructure around him, he can be a pretty good quarterback. Not great, but he's certainly above average, or at least he was through the first 10 games last year when he was healthy. But he's only had one fully healthy season, and that was now going on 4 years ago with the New York Giants when he took them to the playoffs. And so to trust that he's going to be ready by week one and stay healthy and all that, I'm just not so sure about that. And again, I'm on the record saying repeatedly that I still think that Riley Leonard, as of right now, has a good chance, a decent chance to start week one just because of how aggressive the timeline is for Daniel Jones. I don't doubt that he's going to work extra. He's going to try to push that timeline. He's going to try to be ready by week one. But my whole thing is it is an Achilles. Not everyone is Jason Tatum. And even then, you're trying to come back a little quicker than Jason Tatum did. And as remarkable as that was, you want to be cautious.
And I want to echo what you say about Daniel Jones. Last year when he was healthy, he was terrific for the Indianapolis Colts.
Balling.
No problem with that. The injury history is the problem, and it begs the question that you sort of addressed there with Riley Leonard. We saw him a little bit last year. I thought he played well, especially against Cincinnati in the preseason game. I thought he showed promise in that game that he had to play last year. He wasn't terrible in that game. The moment certainly didn't seem too big from him. So my question for you, James, is given the limited amount of experience that he did get last year, and now a full offseason to completely consume, digest, and understand that system, work with the wide receivers a little bit more with Pierce, work a little bit more with Tyler Warren, do all those things. Give him a whole OTAs. Give him a whole camp because he's going to get a lot of reps in that camp. How confident are you if he has to start 2, even 3 games for the Colts?
I'm somewhat confident. I don't have a whole lot of confidence just because he hasn't played a lot of NFL football, live action. And he looked pretty good last year, but I can't look at a game and a half and say, okay, this dude's going to go out here and perform exactly like this. I know that it can help getting reps. It can certainly help being in the classroom, so to speak, with Daniel Jones going over the offense and digesting stuff like that. But I just don't know how confident I can be because I haven't seen it over an extended period of time. But it sounds like the Colts are very confident in Riley Leonard. And again, I go back to the Anthony Richardson situation, how it relates to the rest of the QB room. Right now, the pecking order is Daniel Jones, Riley Leonard, and then Anthony Richardson is QB3. Even if Anthony were to come back to the team, let's say the trade request goes unfulfilled, they don't want to release him. Hey, welcome back. Number 5 is number 3 in the depth chart. And that, to me, will not change. And so in regards to Riley, we'll see. He certainly has a crazy opportunity ahead of him, even if Daniel's a week 1 starter, because Daniel has not played a full season in 4 years. So the likelihood of you seeing real meaningful reps is high. And we're talking about a guy who was a 6th-round pick last year. Let's keep in mind that he wasn't necessarily chosen to immediately step in and be this guy probably this soon.
There wasn't anybody like with Ty Simpson. Ty Simpson had people that were like, this guy's better than you think. This guy should be taken. Nobody was saying that about Riley Leonard, who was thought of more as just a really athletic kind of running quarterback.
Yeah, I mean,
that had some accuracy issues at Notre Dame, even though he led that team to a national championship appearance.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I'm all about your successes and celebrating them, but a lot different leading your team to a national championship in college football than playing in the NFL. So we'll see. Crazy opportunity, like I said, for Riley, and certainly we'll see a lot more of him when we get, closer to training camp officially out there in Westfield. The last one in Westfield, by the way.
Did you happen to see the sports final of the not sports, but there was a sports-related Final Jeopardy question on Jeopardy this week, and it had to do with, can you name the 2 movies that mention team nicknames that are Gene Hackman films?
The 2 nicknames?
Yeah.
That are Gene Hackman films.
Yeah.
Hoosiers?
They played on the question was specifically they played on January 1st last year or this past year.
I'm losing.
Re-ask that question.
Okay.
I'm lost.
Gene Hackman films, 2 of them are named exactly after 2 teams that played against one another on New Year's Day. I don't have it in front of me. I'm going off memory here, but that's the question basically.
I'm lost.
Did you ever see the movie Crimson Tide with Gene
I probably
Hackman?
have not. No,
That's
I have
probably why you're a little bit lost. By the way, none of the 3 got it right. Hoosiers and Crimson Tide.
All right,
2 movies named after college nicknames that Gene Hackman was in. Played against each other on January 1st.
There you go.
I would have buzzed out of that one, too. I
was 1 for 2, baby. I was 1 for 2. I said Hoosiers because you got to know Hoosiers being here.
Only one of the 3 got Hoosiers.
Oh, come on, people. I will say this.
But if you haven't seen Crimson Tide, I get that.
Here we go. We got IU fan in Texas here on the YouTube chat saying, at Jeff, Hoosiers and Roll Tide. So he got it right.
He got it right away.
Speaking of Hoosiers, J-Law, P1 listener, told me that he was actually in the movie Hoosiers as an extra, I believe, in the crowd. And I told him, you got to tell people you were Jimmy Chitwood. This is how this works. If I was ever in a movie, I'd tell him I was Denzel Washington. Come on now. So getting back to the actual, sports topics here on this show, because I do think that's what we do. I do want to pivot a little bit. Mark, let me know if you have this audio queued up. I know the Fever kind of got spanked yesterday when it came to their defensive effort. Boy, Dallas Wings put it on them. That is probably going to change, I would imagine, if you have Aaliyah Boston in there anchoring the center. But when it comes to the rest of the team, I think that Raven Johnson has been a very good addition to that backcourt. And I know that she's kind of been looked at as like the 3rd string point guard behind Caitlin Clark and Ty Harris, but Ty Harris has been out with a knee injury, and I think Raven Johnson has been taking full advantage of this. Again, she's the 1st-round pick this year for the Fever, number 10 overall. She was the former South Carolina star, squared off against Caitlin Clark in back-to-back Final Fours in 2023 and 2024. So, Mark, go ahead and play this, but I had a chance to talk to Raven yesterday about the bond she's built with Caitlin and also their will to try to win together. You mentioned the bond you're building with Caitlin. Just curious, what's that been like? Because you've been so, I guess, inquisitive, and it seems like she's been very responsive to that.
Yeah, she's loving. Like, she's a goofy person. I think a lot of people don't really know her outside of basketball. Outside of basketball, she's funny. Like, she has so much personality. I think that's what people need to know about her. Like, her personality goes a long way, and she's a great person. And I think that goes, like, she helps me through every little thing. Like, I could ask a question and she has an answer for it. So I think that's, like, just playing with somebody like her, it means a lot to me. But she also has that sense of humor where she makes me laugh, too. And I'm like, Caitlin, where did that come from? So it's, like, little things like that. But I'm also funny, too, so I think that's where we kind of match together and we vibe with each other like that. So I love being here with her. And then building off of that, how much do you think just competitive spirit? Like, you both want to win a championship, have played a lot of big games, played against each other, trying to win big games. So, like,
what is it like, and how quickly did you kind of like marry those two ideas of like, all right, we're teammates now, it's time to go try to win here?
Yeah, I put the past in the past. Honestly, when I put the Indiana Fever jersey on, I said let's try to win the championship together. And I think with her, that's all she talks about is winning, pro habits, and like the little margin for room are ever very small when it comes to like the finals games. She talks a lot about that. So I just be telling her like I want to do whatever it takes to win. Like I want to win the championship, and that's really the big goal for me and my teammates.
Welcome to the team. Let's go.
Yeah, Jeff. I mean, just diving into that a little bit more, I felt like it was probably necessary to ask about Caitlin. And this is not necessarily something I want to do all the time, but you get some replies saying like, why do you keep asking her about Caitlin? Like, we know that they had this thing. It's in the past. The reason why I followed up with those two questions on Caitlin, because I didn't post the entire 5-minute interview, was because, they say Raven Johnson's talking pregame. I was like, all right, I'll talk to Raven. Like, why not? And she brought up Caitlin a couple times on her own, unprompted. And so I'm thinking to myself, all right, well, I don't necessarily want to ask every single player every single day about Caitlin Clark. That can probably be annoying for Caitlin and her teammates. But it was organic. So I was like, okay, yeah, if she's mentoring you, what does that look like? What does that feel like? What are you doing together to make sure that you all are on the same page? And so she went into detail right there about that. And I think people, again, might have this misconception or this, sort of diluted perspective on what it means to be fierce competitors and then what it means for those two fierce competitors to come together and turn the page. Like, the things that they kind of competed for was a couple years ago at this point, and now they're trying to win a championship, which you heard Raven Johnson mention. And you're talking about two players who are used to winning a lot. I mean, Raven Johnson, 5 years at South Carolina, 5 Final Four trips, 2 national championships. And we saw what Caitlin Clark did, getting her team to a national championship for the first time, I believe, in like 30 years at Iowa. So I'm excited to see that backcourt. And then we saw it in practice. But not practice meaning the literal practice, but in practice in the game, like seeing it in action yesterday. I thought when they shared the floor, Jeff, that Raven really brought it defensively. She had 5 steals yesterday, all over the place, a couple of playmaking, assists. Probably still needs to score the ball a little bit better when it comes to making open jump shots. But, man, like Stephanie White said at the end of that game, she is forcing her way into the rotation. I think it's a good thing to, A, help kind of offset perhaps some of the deficiencies in Caitlin's game. She's not going to, be a great lockdown defender. They're not going to ask her to do that. But, hey, if Raven's on the floor with her, why not?
Let's go.
And then on top of that, Jeff, I think it helps keep Caitlin fresh as well. If you have another person that can bring the ball up, handle the pressure, distribute the basketball. And there was a possession there, Jeff, I want to say maybe in the second quarter or late first quarter, where Caitlin was off the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's, oh, my God, she doesn't have the ball in her hands. What are they doing? Raven ran the pick and roll, drops it off to Mo Billings. Mo Billings gets it on the roll. Someone crashed down from the corner. She kicks it to Shatori in the corner. Shatori swings it to Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark has enough time for us to get through our morning check down before she shoots the 3. And she nails it. And that's kind of often that they're looking for. So I'm excited. It was a little bit of glimpse yesterday. Again, not the greatest performance overall defensively, but when they get all their dogs back, meaning Aaliyah, who's a great defensive player, Lexi Hull's a great defensive player, the expectations are sky high, Jeff.
They're going to be huge, and they're a team that's expected to contend for a championship. They went all the way to the conference finals last year. They're expected to take a step forward.
Jeff, we're due to cover some meaningful games here. I mean, come on.
It's been at least since January, right?
I know. So I'm excited for that one, and really, it should add to sort of a summer that isn't as busy. Because again, I keep getting on these now. My Facebook, my Twitter, my Instagram. All of them keep giving me those memories, Jeff, of like where I was a year ago. And I'm like, dang, I was, waking up, we were recapping this happening or something like that. So selfishly, as a reporter and as a fan of the sport, you want to cover meaningful games, and we should get a lot of those this year.
All right, it's the Fan Morning Show. Kevin Bone is off on a bachelor party weekend. Have any of your friends yet gotten married and you've been invited to one of those things yet, James?
Yeah, I went to Tony East's wedding. I want to say maybe a year or two
But have you been
ago.
invited to like a bachelor party
I don't think,
weekend or
I'm
something like that?
not a drinker. I don't think the bachelor party life would really fit me. But, I guess never say never.
Kevin and his boys, though, like how wild is that going to get? Come on.
I mean, at this age, probably not.
Hey, guys, let's do some Luke Herringody trivia. What do you think?
Well, where's the nerd audio when you need it? But shout out to KB, man. It should be a good time over at Wrigley. Hopefully it's not raining up there in Chicago like it is here, because wet seats at a stadium, not the best.
No, the worst. It's
That's why you got to drink more. Get the beer snake going even earlier.
Yeah, and so there you go, Mark. You know what?
Mark will never be too old for a raucous bachelor party weekend.
Yeah, Mark, this is how naive I was, man. Again, growing up, didn't drink, still haven't had a drink, and I never knew that it will make you warmer. And so I'd be out in college. I'm like, how are these people walking around with no coat? And like,
they don't feel
it's cold.
anything.
And it's like, well, James, I'm wearing my liquor jacket. I was like, oh, okay. I learned some things today.
Stupidity also makes you warm too. We're like, if I have a couple more of these, I'm gonna feel real good.
Let me tell you something. Walk through the tailgating lots of any NFL or college football game day about 3 hours before kickoff, right, Mark?
You know it, yeah. That's oh boy.
It's a great time, it sounds like.
It is a great time. And you know, the thing that's cool about a lot of those tailgates is a lot of those groups have been parking next to each other and combining on cookouts and setting up TVs and all kinds of things for years. So it really is a huge, big social thing that is, I think, part of the great fabric of the NFL every Sunday.
Yeah, for sure. I want to say.
And college football particularly.
Yeah, and I know we got Rake coming up here on the top of the hour, but I'll say this real quick. Kansas City, one of the best smelling parking lots, tailgating lots you'll ever be in.
A little barbecue action going on.
That stuff smells so good. Mark, I was thinking I could just stay here and eat here instead of going to the press box.
That was good. I would have given you my nose to bring with you so I could smell it too.
Family and I went to a Hoosier game, a Hoosier-Wisconsin game earlier this year, and man, there was some good-looking meals as we were walking to the stadium there, but it was good. All right, coming up next, Greg Rakestraw. We'll talk about all things coming up in the month of May as we continue 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Did someone mention Soccer Saturday a moment ago, Mark Dykton?
Yes, they did.
Do we know who the host of Soccer Saturday is?
The one and only, the legendary Greg Rakestraw.
Greg Rakestraw, one of our favorites, a staple here at 93.5, 107.5 The Fan. I think it's fair to say, James, a staple of Indiana sports.
Yes, and a staple of May around these parts.
Man, oh man, oh man. Greg Rakestraw joins us now on the Payless Liquors hotline this morning. Greg, I'm just going to start off with something non-Indiana related, though, because it's on the big screen in front of us here in the studio. Checking out that Knicks-Hawks games last night, have you ever seen anything like that in the first half?
No, I have not. I mean, I've seen it, but usually it's at a high school game where there's a running clock involved in the second half. So in a professional setting, no, I have not. Nothing close to it.
A 60-11 run after the Hawks took an early 2-point lead and a 51-point deficit at the half. My 16-year-old, who doesn't usually watch more than a few minutes, he and I watched like 30 minutes of that game because we were just like, is this really happening?
Right. No, it was train wreck TV, and I did the same thing. I will largely admit to you that I have checked out on the NBA playoffs because I checked out on the NBA season because I saw what was coming. Not beforehand. I was of the, hey, without Tyrese, they can win 40-something games, and everybody gets hurt. And I'm like, no, this ain't happening. We're playing for the lottery and just check results. So I've let that carry over into the NBA postseason. But last night as well, I see the tweets and the texts, and I start going, I got to start watching this. So I would like side-eye it like every 5 to 10 minutes to see how bad it was going to get, and clearly it plateaued at around 50 points for the rest of the game.
Well, I'll tell you what, Rake, the running clock in high school sports never hurt me in my deadline. I mean, I've appreciated it every time. But, you know.
JB, I will tell you this. We were producing as ISC. I wasn't on the call. It's one of the sports that I don't do. We were producing a lacrosse match last night, and I did learn that if you get up 10-0 at halftime, it is running clock in the second half. So it does carry over to other sports as well.
Hey, yeah. I'm appreciative every time. Again, I don't want the kids to get embarrassed. I don't want to miss deadline. It's a mutual understanding. Now, it is the month of May. I'm not sure how excited you woke up this morning, Rick. I feel like you wake up every day pretty excited about what you got on tap. But, you know, when it comes to this month, when it comes to racing in Indianapolis, obviously the 500, what does it mean to you to get to this month when the calendar flips and you're in May?
Nothing gives me chills the day that I'm going to it like driving underneath the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And now I do it very early in the morning so I can meet everybody there since I've got to be on the air at 6 o'clock since I have the honor of being the second voice you hear at the track. Michael Young gets the honor of being the first. So I'll be out there a lot next weekend for Grand Prix weekend, be out there a lot the following weekend for qualifications weekend, and in my typical day-night doubleheader, and hopefully not as much a day-night as, say, 2 years ago where we had the 3-hour rain delay and the post-race show went till about 10:30. But normally my shift on race day, get there at 5, on the PA at 6, peel out of that room at about 10:45, watch the race, and then talk about it on WIBC and The Fan from approximately 4 o'clock until 7 o'clock again, fingers crossed, weather permitting.
So, Rake, people have been telling me after last year, because I'm not going to lie, I slept in because I knew I had to try to get to the 500, first one for your boy, and then get to Pacers and Racers that night as far as their game, I believe, against the Knicks. So all that in mind, Pacers are not playing in the playoffs this year. Clearly, people are telling me I got to get up and see the Cannons. So what time do I have to be there to make sure that I can see, hear the Cannons, and get the full, I guess, sunrise 500 experience?
So, JB, first of all, the Cannons go up at 6 o'clock, all right? But here's how this needs to play out.
I'm listening.
Because, yes, you had to pace yourself for a long day last year, which we have known for months, not the case this year. You are truly a Hoosier at this point and truly one of us. You don't have to do this as a badge of honor. But to check this off of your bingo card of life living in Indiana, 2 words for you, Coke lot. You need to camp out the night before.
Oh, okay.
And that way you can have the full Indy 500 experience.
Hold on, does that mean that he's going to be rooming with JMV in the RV on the Coke lot this year?
I think that JB could be like DJ Jazzy Jeff to JMB's French Prince. And
Oh,
all
I
of
know.
a sudden, he's got a co-pilot. He's the DJ, I'm the rapper for the show Saturday
Okay,
night.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
All I know
Okay.
is if you put a basketball goal up anywhere near that RV, they'll both be there.
That is probably true.
Right. I mean, they would miss breaks. Like there would be just empty, noise, but there's just the sounds of drunkenness in between tracks of songs. So we may have to rethink this idea. But knowing that, fingers crossed, we hoped it's a one-year glitch in the matrix for the Indiana Pacers, and the Pacers and Racers should be back in play, hopefully, for years to come. Take advantage of this opportunity of this gap year by partying down in the Coke line.
Part of the Hensley Legal Group Command Center here. We're talking about the month of May with Greg Rakestraw here in studio. It happens. Hire Hensley. What do we need to know specifically about the competition part of the Indy 500 this year, 2026?
The question of Alex Palou versus the field. I mean, again, it's not as pronounced on ovals as it is on the road and street circuits. But what was it last year? We had 5 races. He had won 4. This year we had 5 races. He has won 3, including the last 2. Obviously, that doesn't count the Grand Prix coming up next weekend, where it's truly Palou versus the field, given what that team is doing these days. In the 500, we will learn more. The Open Test taught us a little bit, and frankly, some of the satellite teams, one-off teams, other teams had some pretty good speeds and pretty good results. Now does that translate once we get to 4 days of practice, not next week, but the week after? But I still think the ultimate question is, can Palou do it again? Can he go back-to-back? And again, this is in an era that's been, parity-filled for 25 years. This is as seemingly dominant as one driver has been for an extended period of time.
Rake, I know last year a lot of the conversation leading up to the Rake was about Penske, and I believe attenuator? What was the weird item?
I think you're right.
That made all of us kind of have to look it up. And fast forward to now, Rake, how much do you think Penske wants to put that sort of behind them? Not that they haven't, but to have the biggest race be a race where we're having conversations about the actual race and the drivers and the competition rather than some wonky piece that isn't, at least last year, hasn't been cleared correctly.
Well, it was back-to-back years now, not in Indianapolis, but we were talking about the ramifications of illegal parts or illegal use of push-to-pass. And we frankly had a push-to-pass issue at the last race in Long Beach, but it was several people, and frankly, the league did they were supposed to. They said, listen, it was our mistake. We're not going to penalize anybody. The one place that maybe there was a pass involved, both participants used it when they shouldn't have. It was a league issue, and the league fell on the sword immediately, which was good to see from NECAR's perspective. But the last 2 years in May, we've been talking about Penske problems and not Penske perfect. And so I think from a series standpoint, it doesn't get talked about that much. But believe me, it's going to come back up for reasons just as you talked about, because it's May and the brightest spotlight that we have all season long is on this month, on this series, and the individual/entity that owns the series, owns the track, and has 3 of the drivers always have a chance to win. And so it's gonna get brought back up more or less, just like you did right there.
Greg, last year Palou did win the 500, but man, it was a lot of guys right behind him in the top 8 that weren't former winners, that are a little bit younger and looking for their first one. Do you expect to see something like that again?
It's always like that because basically what you typically have now is about a 20-car pack. And I wouldn't say Pat, I'm pretty stretched out, but usually when you do the math, about 33 cars, you obviously have the 25 full-time participants. Usually of the one-offs, maybe 1 or 2 can be competitive and be a factor on race day. But normally by the time we get to the final couple of fuel windows, to the last 60 laps of the race, then usually it comes down to, all right, there's 20 cars in the lead lap. Who has the strongest car? Who can pass cars in traffic? Who has timed out their fuel window properly? If somebody takes a gamble and comes in on, say, 167, 168, and we're going green all the way down, who gets the luck of the draw from a yellow. And so that's why maybe you got some different finishers in the top 10 than be those that you would normally think about. But to be honest with you, there's probably 5 or 6 drivers / car driver team combinations where I go, I think these guys have a legit chance to win. So Palou and Dixon from Ganassi Racing. I would put probably all 3 of the Penske's, but I would lean more towards Newgarden and McLaughlin. I would put Will Power and Cal Kirkwood of that ilk for Andretti. I would put Pato O'Ward and maybe Ryan Hunter-Ray as the best of the one-offs from McLaren. So I guess I just rattled off 8. I would say that would be kind of, we're all doing tiers these days, right? That'd be tier number 1. And then you really get to a group of probably about 10 to 12 that you go, hey, they're not the favorites, but you could see a scenario where if things play out, they could be a factor late in the race.
I'm not going to lie. I would like to see one more Spider-Man crawl. That's just me. That's just me. I don't know if it'll happen.
I think the outlier was 5 years ago, and I think we are getting down to the final year or two of seeing Elio. I think it's just so tough I know he's around the series, but to come in and do this race once a year, and honestly, the results from Meyer Shank have not been there where you feel overly confident about that.
Yeah, he was 10th last year, right behind Takuma Sato, who was 9th last year for Rahal.
Correct. And again, Takuma can find some speed. Has one of the great lines of all time: "No attack, no chance." He's going to go for it. He's Japanese Ricky Bobby. He's going to finish first or last. It's okay. But again, I haven't seen enough from the Rahal cars from a speed standpoint. And Sato's had the best speed when he's been with them the last couple of years. I don't put him in that top group either.
Rake, last one from me. We'll talk to Doug Bowles later today on the show, I believe around 9:45. He's been the president in IMS. He just recently, last couple of years, became the president of IndyCar. How has your relationship grown throughout the years with Mr. Bowles?
Doug and I have always gotten along very well. Usually we see each other usually about once or twice a day when I'm over in the Pagoda or just kind of swinging by the media center. What I would say is this: I think Doug is as good as his job as a sports administrator as not just anybody in this city, but anybody in the country. He has the ultimate understanding of the pulse of the fans, of what they want to see and what's best for everybody in the series. So I realize there's a lot on his plate, but it's put that way because everyone respects him. He is as well-liked and well-respected of a figure in a position of sports administration that I can think of that we have here in the Indianapolis area, or again, from a nationwide perspective.
Greg, always good to talk to you. I hope you have a terrific weekend. I'm guessing you don't have the whole weekend off, though, right?
I have tonight off. I'm working tomorrow night, and I'm working on Sunday. And it's stuff that is a little bit different or off the beaten path for me. So I'm going to call 2 different sports this weekend. I'm going to see if you guys can guess which 2 sports I'm on the call
of. Baseball?
No baseball. I'll get a lot of that in the month of May.
Yeah.
There is no soccer. The Indy 11 are on the road this week. We're not doing the game.
You mentioned lacrosse, yeah.
I'm not doing lacrosse. We at ISC are producing lacrosse, but again,
what are you
doing?
doing?
The one calling the game.
Pickleball.
So tomorrow, I'm not doing pickleball because pickleball is for people that can't fit on a full tennis court. I'm still angry about that. I'm a tennis guy, not a pickleball guy. Amateurs play pickleball, real ones play tennis. So here's what happens tomorrow night. I'm on the call of Ball State's national quarterfinal
volleyball
for ESPN Plus for the men's volleyball regional, as they will play either Pepperdine or Fort Valley State. And then on Sunday, for the second Sunday in a row, I'm doing college tennis. The GLBC has asked me to do their championships, which are at Center Grove High School. UIndy has been a dominant team, especially on the men's side in that league. I had the Horizon League Tennis Championships last Sunday. I'll have the GLBC Tennis Championships this Sunday.
Outstanding, Greg. That's going to be fun. Enjoy it.
Thank you.
All right, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
How was golf, by the way?
I'll ask you this question. My force, everybody had, by the way, incredible turnout, incredible people, not just celebrities, but the people that came in
yesterday.
Oh, we totally did. But my foursome was Chris Denari, Eddie White, And I mean, how's that for that right there? And Bob Kravitz. Do you think stories were told in that foursome?
I was going to say, you didn't have to say a word the entire day.
I was just listening to Eddie for most of it. But yeah,
Eddie and Bob just going at it.
Should I tell you about the foursome I had with Bob Kravitz one time at the Legends of Indiana?
Of course.
Myself, Bob Kravitz, Tony Kornheiser, and his son on an early Sunday morning in August. When the Colts had in Tony's days of doing Monday Night Football, Colts had a preseason game that Tony was on the call of, and Tony and his son were great to play with. Tony's son could really play golf, and you could tell that Tony had not spent much time in rural areas in his life. So since we played in August, the corn that butts up against the 18th hole was about as tall as it was in Field of Dreams. And I think Tony was under the impression that if he got close enough to it, he would go James Earl Jones and figure out what was on the other side of the baseball field.
Well, you should have checked it out, man. That sounds like a great day of golf. But, man, everybody that came out yesterday, we had people coming and drove up from Evansville. CB and his crew drove up from Evansville yesterday. It was fantastic. Don Fisher was there yesterday. Fish was there.
Of course he will, because Don Fisher is a legend wherever he goes, but especially at the Legends of Indiana. That is a regular stop as far as Don's, the DF World Tour, the Don Fisher World Tour of Golf. Don plays there a lot, and Ted Bishop is one of my favorite people. So I'm sorry that, Jeff, you were kind enough to invite me. I was actually supposed to play in a buddy of mine's foursome yesterday. The job got in the way, and I hated that because that was a perfect day yesterday. I'm so happy for you guys.
Well, have fun this weekend, and we will talk to you again soon, buddy. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
There he is. And again, we want to thank Franciscan, the fine folks over there, just doing a fantastic job of supporting that, getting the word out to people on how to take care of yourself. We were talking about this in the first hour. How many large health groups make it their big mission to prevent you from getting sick? They're basically saying we would like to see less of you.
Yeah, I mean, it's the state of the world we kind of live in, but certainly appreciative of what they've done over at Franciscan to help us stay healthy and obviously live great lives. And shout out to Rake one more time, because that is an outstanding human being. When I see Rake, the vibes are usually sky high.
Good stuff. All right, let's check it down, Mark Dankton.
The Morning Checkdown on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
All right, we'll start with the Indiana Fever. You were over at the Fieldhouse last night, their second preseason game. Dallas did win it 95-80. Fever were playing without both Aaliyah Boston, Lexi Hull, and a few other folks in precautionary as they get ready for the season. Caitlin Clark, though, looked like she was in midseason form.
Yeah, she was really good. Had an injury scare there early in the third quarter where she went down after a landing zone foul. So in English, that means she shot the ball and she came down on someone's foot and they didn't give her enough space to safely land. Fortunately, she's fine. She said she just banged her knee. We'll see if she plays tomorrow against the Nigerian national team. But crisis avoided, and yeah, she shot the ball very well, Jeff. Defensively is what kind of concerned me with that game yesterday overall for the Fever.
Yeah, they were outscored pretty heavily in the second quarter, I believe.
Yeah, and I think the Wings were up by as many as 23, so got to get that cleaned up. That should help getting Aaliyah Boston back in the lineup, getting Lexi Hull back in the lineup. But the real basketball starts next Saturday, so I'm excited for it.
All right. NBA. Man, did we have eyebrow-raising news, I guess you'd say, last night. Knicks and Hawks. Here's the final call last night of that game.
Well, the Knicks will advance to the second round for the fourth straight year, courtesy of one of the most dominant performances in NBA playoff history. In a game they led by as many as 61, they win by 51.
You almost want to play that part over again, like, wait, what? They led by 61. They won by 51, James, and they were up 51 at the half.
Yeah, I mean, just an absolute beatdown, and the Hawks are dead.
I had that game on multi-view, and I quickly dumped out of it after the halftime show because I was like, let me see what Shaq and Chuck are saying. And after that, I'm like, I could give two rips about this game. It's over.
Shaq was pretty funny last night. He was given a stuffed version of that Hawk mascot CPR. Couldn't bring him back.
Needed more than that.
Couldn't bring him back. Here's my favorite stat of the night, Mark. You ready for this?
Let me have it.
At one point last night, to end the game, the Hawks, let's put it this way, the Knicks could have gone scoreless for 22 minutes and 58 seconds and still won that game last night.
That's insane.
That's almost 2 full quarters they could have gone by the time the Hawks got to where they needed to be. That's crazy last night. So anyway, the Knicks advanced. They close out the series 4-2. OG Anunoby had 29 points. Also last night, Philadelphia forces a Game 7 with the Celtics. 106-93, the final score there. Tyrese Maxey had 30. Paul George had 23. Joel Embiid had 19 and 10. And the Minnesota Timberwolves, as you predicted, James Boyd, win at home without 3 of their top scorers. They were all watching from suites up in the arena at Target Center, and it was Minnesota over the Nuggets, 110-98. Nikola Jokic did score 28 points, had 10 assists, I think 9 rebounds when it was all said and done. But he did say after the game, unlike what is going on with Milwaukee and Giannis Antetokounmpo, he definitively said, I love Denver. I want to finish my career here.
Well, first things first, if you want to know the next lotto numbers, holla at your boy, because clearly I can predict the future. Number 2, I told you I love Dino Nuggets, not those Nuggets out there in Denver. Didn't love what I saw from the rest of the group. Outside of Jokic and Jamal Murray, got to have a better performance in a closeout game or an elimination game like yesterday. It did not happen, so I would expect some big changes to happen with that franchise. But, yeah, I'm ready for perhaps some more theater tonight and see if we'll get a couple more Game 7s coming up.
All right, so speaking of what is coming up tonight, we have 3 more games. You mentioned everybody trying to force a Game 7. Orlando is trying to close out the Pistons. They'll be in Orlando. Toronto trying to stay alive, trying to tie it up as they host the Cavaliers. And the Lakers will try to close out the Rockets on the road in Houston. So fun stuff to watch tonight.
Yeah, I'll be able to get home and see the family this weekend, and so me and my dad will be locked into a TV somewhere.
Oh, so you didn't need to take the day off to go to Chicago, but Kevin did. Interesting.
Yeah, I told you. You know, it's like the people who don't necessarily fly a lot, and so they like overdo some things. And no disrespect to that, because I'm very fortunate to fly often, and I'm not paying for it. It's through the company. But my mom's kind of like that. You know, I got to take a trip with her in June, and she's already like trying to pack, and I'm telling her it'll get done the night before. And I have TSA pre-check. I don't have to get there 3 hours early. Like this is how we do things when we fly frequently.
That's what you do.
She don't understand that. Kevin doesn't understand. It's a straight shot from here to Chicago. Don't have to leave, at 6 a.m.
Also, in the National Football League, it seems like a foregone conclusion, but a fairly big day for the Indianapolis Colts today.
Yeah, I would say more so, unlike the news earlier this week where Caitlin Clark had her 4th-year option picked up by the Fever, a no-brainer. It is a no-brainer in reverse for the Colts to not pick up the 5th-year option on Anthony Richardson. The dean, Mike Chappell, over at Fox 59, reported yesterday officially that the Colts will not pick up Anthony Richardson's last year of his rookie deal, basically, and it would have been worth $22.5 million guaranteed in 2027. So that's not going to happen. There were 3 quarterbacks taken in the first round, Jeff, in 2023, the other 2 being Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, and Anthony Richardson is the only one who did not have his 5th-year option picked up.
So once again, for clarity's sake, what does this do for this year's salary cap situation?
Nothing.
It's moving forward,
Yeah,
right?
Basically it means Anthony will become an unrestricted free agent next year. And to me, it signals that the end of his tenure with the Colts is coming to an end, whether it's via trade, via release this year, or you just let him walk in free agency next year. But the bottom line is this marriage, which hasn't really worked out all that well, is coming to an end.
And if and when they do release him and can't trade him, then they start to save some money on the cap, right?
No,
No?
they do not, because
Not
he
this
was a
year.
first-round pick, fully
That's
guaranteed
it.
money. So the only way they could save money, Jeff, and this is a good question that you brought up, is if they trade him. If they trade him, I think his cap hit's like $10.8 million. If you trade him, it gets split kind of in half,
Okay.
where the other team would pay the other half. But without trading him, if you just cut him, it would literally just be for the sake of both of you all moving on. No financial relief.
All right, Major League Baseball last night. Cincinnati Reds, it was actually in the afternoon, beat the Colorado Rockies by a score of 6-4. Also, the St. Louis Cardinals over the Pittsburgh Pirates, 10-5. Indians were on the road against the Memphis Redbirds, and Indianapolis loses that one by a score of 5-2. Later on tonight, those 2 teams will play again 8:05 our time out in Memphis. And Mark, the Cubs open up a series this weekend against the Arizona Diamondbacks, and tomorrow, one Kevin Bone will be out there in the bleachers.
He will be. Seeing Shota Imanaga on the mound, so that should be a good one. So let's hope he brings a couple wins back. So the W flag has been kind to me. Let's hope that Kevin's debut at Wrigley goes as well.
All right, the
Don't end up in the trough either, Kevin. Let's avoid that if we can.
As you say that as if someone close to you may have done that.
And I don't know the person that did it. I have seen it before, though.
Not you, though, right?
No.
All right. Reds open up a series on the road against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Will also be a little bit later on tonight. That's what's happening in the world of sports. And, of course, this report has been brought to you by Bet365. With Bet365 early payout, you win even if they lose. Get paid out instantly when your team goes up big, even if they blow the lead later. Bet365. Winning is everything. If you've got a gambling problem, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. 21 or over only. Must be physically located in the state of Indiana to place a bet there. Meantime, let's find out if this rain's going to stick around all day. Let's check in with Fox 59 meteorologist Jim O'Brien.
Shower chances will continue across the area for today, but more limited in coverage throughout the afternoon. Still a cool day to open up May with a high at 54. Tonight, a frost advisory with clearing skies and a low tonight down to 35. I'm Fox 59 meteorologist Jim O'Brien for The Fan.
Oh, make me over. I'm all I wanna be.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
There's my vibe right there, Mark Dykton.
Little hole on a Friday.
I like angst in music.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, it's all good. It's the Fan Morning Show. Kevin Bowen off today. He is celebrating a buddy's bachelor party weekend. He'll be going to the Cubs game tomorrow, and he's excited about that. And Mark Dykton hanging out with us today, and, of course, James Boyd, as always. We were talking about the NBA playoffs and certainly the historic night that the Knicks had and just obliterating the Atlanta Hawks, where you heard Mike Breen, the final call on ESPN, say that in a game they led by 61, they win by 51. And the crazy part is that they led by 51. It wasn't like a long, slow climb over the course of the game. They led by 51 at the half, James.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty rough outing for the Atlanta Hawks.
It's crazy. And then
too much time at Magic City.
You called it. You predicted that the Denver Nuggets would lose in Minnesota, even though Minnesota was playing without all Anthony Edwards and all their big scores.
Interesting.
And they won. And they ended. I looked at the line. The closing line was Nuggets were favored by 7.5. They ended up losing last night, 110-98. But it really made me appreciate the overall long-time work of Kevin Pritchard and Chad Buchanan and what they do to keep this team so relevant year in and year out. And in my mind, and believe me, this was a topic of conversation with our Vorsum yesterday, you still can't tell me that if Tyrese stays healthy in that Game 7, it just felt like he was on fire. They were doing all the things they'd done all during the playoffs, and it just felt like it was going to be their night, but it wasn't, whatever. But the guy who now is the general manager for the Minnesota Timberwolves was the guy who built the championship team for the Nuggets. His name is Tim Connelly, and his contract came up. And Stan Kroenke, who's won a Super Bowl with the Rams, a Stanley Cup with the Avalanche, and an NBA title with the Nuggets, decided he didn't want to match an offer that Minnesota made. And so the Timberwolves ended up getting Connelly as their general manager, and he's talked about specifically building that team knowing that they were going to have to beat the Denver Nuggets for the next 5 years if they wanted to truly contend for an NBA championship. And so you let the guy go that created the culture, the team, the draft picks, the free agents, and everything else that leads to an NBA championship. And now that's the team that he's built in Minnesota that you cannot solve in the postseason.
Yeah, it's a tough look, but I'm not so sure, again, how you kind of reverse course there.
I think the Nuggets are in trouble. I don't know how they come back from what they're doing, and they'll have to rebuild around Jokic all over again. And he's not getting any younger. He's still at the peak of his game. But you got to think he's certainly made the turn, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. But as far as, general managers go and team presidents, I am, again, very curious to see how the Pacers approach the draft lottery, whether they get the pick, don't get the number 1 pick, but get like the 4th pick. Do they trade back? Do they stay there? Do they try to evaluate bringing in veterans? This is a very interesting time for the Pacers because of them not necessarily being a bad team. And yes, they were bad this year, but they're not bad like rebuilding bad. They're bad like we just need our players to get healthy and we should be a playoff team again. And what makes it sting perhaps the most, maybe for Pacers fans, besides the obvious injury and the Game 7 loss, was this season. Looking at this season alone, Jeff, Boston's going to a Game 7.
Mm-hmm.
Cleveland is in a 6-game series right now. They could go to a Game 7. Like, this thing is wide open in the East, and the Pacers, had they been healthy, I do firmly believe they would have been in that conversation. So how do you ensure, via the draft lottery, via some of your off-season moves, and obviously the biggest one being just getting healthy, how do you position yourself to make sure you take advantage of perhaps another wide open East next year? I know the league is very year to year. It could change. But, boy, I'm thinking about those ping pong balls a lot this morning.
Well, at the time, too, of last season, obviously you're never rooting for injuries, but Jason Tatum went out with an injury, and you're like, well, that might be a window for the Pacers, too. This is before the Tyrese injury and everything, obviously. You were starting to see that window crack even more open, and then when Game 7 happened in the finals, like, oh, God, like what a gut punch that was, because you just knew that this season was going to be kind of a wash, and you just kind of had breaks for 2026, 2027. So you're kind of like, well, we know they're not going to be great this year. We'll just have to see what happens next year. But now you're like, man, there's that window opportunity in the finals, and now there was this year that's kind of lost. Let's hope that window stays open now.
You know what? I think there's a certain level of like competitive anxiety that you got to have because of that, Mark. And I think Pascal's talked about it a lot, Jeff, throughout the years, where like you can't guarantee yourself being back there. That's a scary feeling. Like you may never get to a game 7 for all the marbles in the NBA finals ever again. But you got to fight that thought to say, bleep that, we're getting back to that stage, somehow, some way. And it might look differently. It has to look differently because of the change they've already made with this team. But boy, I'm excited for hopefully that chase to resume next season.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong on what I'm about to say here, because I think a fully healthy Indiana roster with Tyrese Halliburton and everybody else, and whether you add a top draft pick or you get somebody that fills a specific need in free agency, the only thing, to Pascal's point, that worries me, that whole playoff run, that whole February, March, into April, into the playoffs, it was such a vibe night in and night out, James. Like, they would get behind 8 points, 2 minutes to go. Didn't matter. You always felt like that team was going to win a basketball game. I don't know how you always recreate a vibe like that. That particular team just was never out of a game ever.
Nah. And it brought a lot of anxiety for your boy as a sports writer. I hate close games because it's always like, I have 2 different versions of what could happen. But that's what you live for. I mean, I think there's a certain level of adrenaline that we all get. Fans, media members, you could be the security guard there. Like, there's no way you could go into Gamers Fieldhouse last year in the finals and not feel some sort of energy like this is it. And boy, do I miss that feeling. So I'm hoping to get some of that from a coverage standpoint with the Fever this summer. And then we'll see what the Colts bring in the fall. And I hold my breath on that. And then clearly next season with the healthy Tyrese and company. So,
and you and I were there together at the Fieldhouse for the closeout game for the Western Conference or the Eastern Conference Finals, and we kind of both shared that experience of leaving the arena and certainly going downtown out into the streets afterwards.
Bro.
That was as
dancing,
cool a
dancing
vibe.
in the street.
Can you imagine if they'd have won the Game 7? What that'd have been like?
Yeah, I want to say one of our producers, is it Kylan? She was out there.
Yeah.
She told me she was line dancing after one of the games, enjoying it. So, yeah, I know we got to hit a break, but a little memory lane here on a Friday.
Coming up, we're going to take a look at, do you know what it is this weekend? We haven't talked that much about. Mark, are you ready for the Kentucky Derby?
I am.
Coming
Big
up?
hats and mint juleps. Let's go.
Man, I need to really catch up because I've been so engrossed in other things. I don't even know what the field looks like at this point in time. Mark, do you?
No, weather-wise or otherwise. I don't know if it's slop out there. They always talk about the slop. I have no idea.
It's one of the few things left on my bucket list of American sports and even sports generally that I got to go to.
I've driven past it multiple times when we drive through Kentucky to go to Florida, but never stopped, never been. It is a bucket list item. That's what I've been told.
The 2 biggies on my list, Kentucky Derby and the Masters.
Oh.
Those
Masters is up
are
there
the 2
too.
big ones I have left to get to. So we'll see what happens there. All right, coming up at the top of the hour, we'll talk to Dick Girardi. He is going to fill us in a little bit more on the ponies this weekend. And also Doug Bowles coming up at 9:45. And Mark, we're going to talk to him every Friday leading up to the Indianapolis 500.
That is the game plan. We will for sure. We're still working out the schedule, but for sure we're having him today, and we are having him live in Carb Day in person. So we know that for sure. We are nailing down the other 2 dates, but hopefully every Friday through May, Doug Bowles will be with us live every Friday.
Looking forward to that. We'll continue in a moment here at 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
What you wanna do? What you gonna do? Yeah. Bad boys, bad boys.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
All I can think of now when I hear this is Cops, Mark.
Well, that's one, but I also.
Breaking news from 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
I've been alerted of this, according to a longtime listener. Said late breaking news. FBI Director Kash Patel is expected to call a press conference at any minute in front of Gainbridge Fieldhouse to announce that after 24 hours search, the call off the nationwide search for Jeff's wallet, according to fans and official crime correspondent Eduardo Blanco.
There it is, right there.
Look at that.
Shout out
Helicopters out yesterday,
Eduardo
State Patrol,
Blanco.
everybody. But we got it back, Mark.
I know.
That's all I
That's
need to
good.
know.
That's great to hear
That's all
because
I need to know.
I've lost a wallet before. It is not fun. It's also just you're mad at yourself when you're like, oh my God, it's right there this whole time. What are we doing here?
Oh, man.
See,
Well-
I have my list of things I absolutely cannot lose. And I usually, if I leave the charger in the hotel room, whatever, but the wallet, that ain't getting lost.
James saw me lose my keys before, and the look of
gosh.
disappointment in his face, I don't think I've seen my parents look at me with that much disdain like he
Man.
did when I did lose my keys.
Well,
I disappointed
it's
him, and
back.
it broke my heart.
It's back. The national search is over, Mark. We've got it. Got
We've
the
got
wallet.
all the money. We've got all the cards. We've got all the key
I don't
cards
even-
we need.
I don't even carry cash a lot anymore. It's just the driver's license, the credit cards. That's the big thing, right?
There you go.
All right, it's the Fan Morning Show, 93.5, 107.5 The Fan. You know what I want to do? I feel I'm in a giving mood, James. Let's give away some tickets to the Sanzio Grand Prix coming up week after next. You know what we're going to do, Mark? We're going to do this. Everybody is going to text wallet to 239-1070. There you go, Mark. And that'll wrap up the saga. Wallet.
There you go.
Just one word, wallet. Put you into a category. You're entered to win. And Mark will have a winner for you soon.
Yep. So that should be fun. I'll get all the information. Whoever texts that first, I will check the text line for that. So.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Also, Derek pointing out that Mark needs PTO so he can attend Carb Day with me.
I've been to Carb Day before, but it's usually after the show. But yeah, I would like to get in on the celebratory nature of that. But I think we're stretched on producers, so I think I might have to stay back at the station today. Or that day.
Ryan was at the golf tournament yesterday, James. He says, and was he not listening to us in the morning? He says, getting sunburnt while it's chilly out makes some interesting necklines.
I'm sure it does.
Gotta take advantage of those sun shirts, man. Get the sun shirt on. Pop some SPF 50 on.
Aaron from Minnesota, who I'm sure was taking great delight in the demise of the Nuggets last night, says this is a wild stat. Nikola Jokic has never beaten a team in the playoffs with more than 50 wins.
So he's a fraud, is what I'm hearing.
That
He's no longer a first ballot Hall of Famer.
that any of the other 29 teams would sign up for immediately, right?
Absolutely. But that is a kind of a wonky stat there.
Oh, man. Drew from Avon says, Diet Coke Lot. How about that? Not a true Hoosier until you spend a night out there, James.
Yeah, we'll see about that. That might be a little too big of a jump for your boy, but I'm thinking about it.
Is JMV really going to be in like an RV?
It doesn't surprise me. Doesn't he do like the all-night radio thing or something like that?
Probably.
I don't know how he does that. He gets up and plays basketball the next day. Shout out to JMV.
Love it.
Molly and glow sticks and JMV. What are you going to do else in the Coke lot?
Wait, what? How did Molly get involved
Just
in
saying,
this?
if you're up all night playing music and stuff the night before the 500, I'm just saying, probably got something going on that's keeping you awake. Lots of caffeine otherwise.
Man, oh man, oh man.
Shout out to Molly. She's a nice person.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love this from Bill V, wrapping this up. He says, as a 51-year-old fan of the show, I can empathize with this, Jeff. But the phone. Also, I've been known to look for my phone while it's in my hand, he says.
Yeah, leaving the phone behind yesterday, 0 cents. Made 0 cents. This is like when my mother, when I was a kid, she would force me to wear a hat in the winter, which makes sense. But then she would never wear a hat. And she would have these like little scarves she put on. And I tell her to this day, as an adult now, you just did that because you were grown. It made 0 sense. But you did it because you have free will and no one can tell you otherwise. Same with the phone, Jeff. Leaving the phone behind made 0 sense.
Have
But
you ever
yeah,
lost your phone?
No, I've never lost the phone.
Never.
No.
But I mean, misplaced it for a few minutes is my point.
Nah, I think my generation just doesn't do that, honestly. I feel
It's like a third arm.
Yeah,
at this
I
point.
feel like my dad will like leave his phone at home and like we'll be going to like somewhere, an all-day event, and that'll happen, but he's also not on his phone. Like he's not texting and all that.
I will admit this. I am, in a lot of ways, the absent-minded professor. I am forever asking my wife if she's seen my keys, if she's seen something that I've put down. I am too often thinking of 8 million other things and just not paying attention to things that are happening right this second when it comes to keys and stuff like that. That is one thing that I do have an issue with.
Right. Okay, fair enough.
Just to be honest there. Did have a lot. There are a bunch of people checking in on the Stanley Cup today, too. Greg says, Jeff, how about one of the Stanley Cup expectants, the Edmonton Oilers, losing in 6 games in round 1? Only one of the 4 teams that made the conference finals last year will advance to round 2 this year. And then he says, James, I know you've been watching intently. LOL.
Like I said, I'll lock in when the Stanley Cup is on the line. Two teams.
All I know is they might have the best player in hockey in Connor McDavid, and they just can't get him to a championship. It's crazy.
We'll see what happens.
All right. Anything else you want to throw in before we head to break and get ready to talk about the ponies coming up this weekend, Mark?
No, I need info, though, because I'm like you. I don't know the field. I don't know who the favorites are. I need to know because I need to make some money.
I'm right there with you. Also, the IndyCar Grand Prix tickets helping us out here. The Hensley Legal Group, Command Center, courtesy of the Command Center. It happens. Hire Hensley. We'll talk ponies next at 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Hey, it's Mark, and you've heard me talk about it for the last couple months. I had some plumbing issues, and after we're doing a little digging, we saw there was an even bigger issue, and that was in my crawl space. I knew I needed help, and I didn't know what to do, so I called Swenco. And the great thing about Swenco is they're not going to give you a salesman or anything like that. You're going to actually talk to the owners themselves. Adam, shout out to him. He came out to the property, checked it out, and in no time gave me the most detailed and thorough breakdown of exactly what was going on in my house and how they were going to fix it. Not only do they do crawl spaces, they also do basement waterproofing, and they transform that wet basement into a dry and finished basement whether you want to be a man cave or whatever your plans are there. They can do foundation repair, and they have all other lifetime warranty solutions. They also bumped up my appointment 2 weeks, so they're out there as we speak right now. Shout out to Thomas and the guys doing hard work out there. Can't wait to get out there and see what they're doing, because it looks like we will be taken care of and we'll have no worries in the near future. Swenco, they are who I trust. They also boast an A+ rating for Indy's most trusted. SwencoLLC.com is the website, or you can check them out on their phone, 317-407-1868. Put your crawl space, basement, and foundation concerns in the rearview mirror with Swenco.
This is the Fan Morning Show with KB, JB, and Jeff.
Gotta love it. It is that time, and just about 2.5 hours away, Mark Dykton. They'll be running the Kentucky Derby. You know how many this is now? Any idea, Mark or James?
152nd?
Yep, 152nd Kentucky Derby. That's a heck of a run right there. It's a heck of a run right there. And we have brought in an expert, Dick Girardi, joining us here from Bet Online to give us the latest on what to look for in this particular edition of what is the most famous horse race in the world. There's no question about that. Good morning, Dick. Welcome into the Payless Liquors Hotline. Appreciate you taking a few minutes of your time for us today and making us a little bit smarter before Mark and I go and start to plop some money down on the betting app this weekend.
That is my plan, to see if I can help you guys make some money.
All right, so let's start by talking about the horses who have been making the most news leading up to this. Of course, to remind people, you got to be a 3-year-old horse this year. Tell me about the favorite Renegade.
So Renegade has most recently won the Arkansas Derby. Great connections. Todd Fletcher, Mike Rapoli, two of the most prominent trainer-owner combination in the country. Irad Ortiz is the rider, you can make a case, one of the two best big race riders in the country, along with Flavien Prat. So there's a lot going for him. Has a really nice running style, becoming late. The question is, can he get through all the traffic in the 20-horse field? And by the way, we just have another late scratch here. We're
breaking
Right
news.
to Party to 5. Yeah, Right to Party was just scratched a few minutes ago. So the 13 Silent Tactic, the 20 Full Effort, and the 5 Right to Party are all out, which brings in 3 horses also eligible, the 21, the 22, and the 23. Robusta just got into the race.
All right. It just seems wrong to have a horse named Right to Party miss the Kentucky Derby the day before.
Yeah, it's just something just seems wrong with that, right? But, yeah, I don't know what the issue was, but, yeah, he was trained by Kenny McPeak, who won the race 2 years ago with Mystic Dan.
So, Dick, thanks for joining the show here. And again, he is joining us via Bet Online if you want to get in on some of the Kentucky Derby action. Reading here about, I'm hoping I'm saying the first name right. Is it Irad Ortiz Jr.?
Correct.
Irad.
Yeah, you had it. Irad. Yep.
Irad Ortiz Jr. It seems like this, I'm trying to think of like an NFL equivalent. It's like Peyton Manning in the early years. Couldn't get over the hump. Couldn't win the big one. How much do you think this year means to him? The opportunity to obviously try to go after it again. And I get that you celebrate the horse, but the jockey has a little bit to do with it. And just that chase to try to stand atop, the podium when it comes to the Kentucky Derby.
Oh, for sure. This is Irad's best chance. He hasn't been on the favorite before. I mean, he's been on some horses, but they really are mostly middle prices or long shots. So, yeah, this is absolutely his best chance. And you're right. It is horse racing. It's called horse racing for a reason. I always tell people, if you want to make the analogy with sports, the horses are the players. The trainers are the coach. And the jockeys are kind of like hired hands. They're around the horse just for the couple of minutes during the race and in the paddock. And they're certainly important, but of the three, they're the third most important trainer in horse 1-2.
How well does a horse need to know the jockey that gets on his back when you put it that way?
Not all that relevant, helpful, but by no means a game changer. Look, you can't make a slow horse fast, and jockeys generally, if your horse is good enough, just put them in the clear, give them a chance to win. What jockeys can do sometimes is get their horse in a bad spot and keep them from winning, but that's why you employ the better jockey to hope that doesn't happen.
James is just a little bit too big to be a jockey. Not quite there.
Dick, he's being funny. I'm like 6'2", 225.
Yeah.
If you subtract 4 inches and about 70 pounds, but nevertheless,
you'd only be 100 pounds overweight for running in the Derby. You think that you'd be fine.
There you go. So, is this, and I guess it is pun intended, is there a dark horse candidate that we should keep an eye on for this year's Kentucky Derby? I look at some of these names, and I'm always a little bit intrigued by that, which is probably why I shouldn't bet too much on this, because I see a name, and I'm like, boy, 6 Speed? How does 6 Speed ever lose?
Well, you'll get a thrill from 6 Speed because he's going to be in front at the beginning. I don't think he's going to be around at the end. In fact, you can bet horses to finish last. 6 Speed is the favorite at Bet Online.
Oh, come on. Come on.
4-1 in one of the prop bets. I feel bad for you, but you will get a thrill because 6 Speed is in front. You can hear the announcer right now.
Yeah, the problem is everybody else is 8 Speed.
Yeah, there's that problem. Yeah. I like the 7, Denon Bourbon. He's listed at Bet Online at the moment at 13-1. He's about the same price in the early betting at Churchill. He's one of the Japanese horses. He's 3 for 3. All his races are in Japan, but when you watch him, it's just kind of like the video. He just jumps off the page at you like this horse has like pop, serious acceleration. The Japanese horses, and when they go around the world now over the last 10 years, they've been extremely competitive, none more than Forever Young, who lost the Derby by 2 noses 2 years ago. It's gone on to be one of the best horses, maybe the best horse in the world. So Denon Bourbon for me, the downside is jockey and trainer have 0 American race experience. That's a concern, but I'm going with talent and price over experience here. So Denon Bourbon is my semi-long shot again. He'd probably be in a 12, 15, 21, 20-1 range.
And James Denon Bourbon, he's got the right name to be running in Kentucky too, right?
Yeah,
There you go.
Hey, I'm just making sure that I'm learning as I go here, Dick. I'm learning.
So let me ask you this.
That's what I'm here for. Yep.
There are a couple of Bob Baffert entries in there, and those are always kind of sneaky.
Indeed.
They're not the favorites,
Yep.
but they are Bob Baffert trained, and that usually tells me something, doesn't it?
It does. So Litmus Test, the 4, and Potente, the 14, are the 2 trained by Bob, who's won the race record tying 6 times. And here's an interesting prop for you if you want to get involved with the Baffert horses. So the Kentucky Oaks is tonight on NBC. It's like first time it's been in primetime, 8:40 post. Will a Baffert-trained horse win the Oaks and the Derby?
Oh.
So you get 66-1 on that proposition. He's got Explora in the Kentucky Oaks today, the one filly. She is one of the favorites in the race. So if she wins, then either of the Baffert horse wins tomorrow. You get 66-1. So keep that in mind. That's a nice Derby Oaks prop for prop bet at Bet Online.
And the Oaks is always all fillies, correct?
Correct. That's right. It's the Derby. It's the Philly version of the Derby. They run that always the Friday, the day before the Derby.
That combination sounds like a bet made for Mark Dykton right there at 66 to 1.
I'm writing it down as we speak.
There you go.
Man, oh man,
I like
all
it.
right. Bottom line, box them up for me.
So 7 Denon Bourbon. I think the best of the American horses, and they're all very close. You could judge by the odds. Renegade, Further Ado, Commandment, Chief Willoughby, the Puma, all under 10 to 1 at Bet Online. I like Further Ado, the 18. I think he's going to get the right trip. I think he's going to be maybe 4th or 5th coming out of the first turn. I like Commandment, the 6, as the most consistent horse in the race, and the Puma, the 9. They would be my 4 in that order. So 7, 18, 6, and 9, just like that.
All right. We'll look forward to that. You could probably make a little handsome takeaway if you hit that one, can you?
That would be nice.
That would be nice. I will say this, and I'm probably dating myself, and someone who's as involved with it as you are, let me know if I'm just crazy. Yeah. But every time I'm cruising through social media and just, waiting in a waiting room or something like that, and I'm just killing time, and maybe it's because of my feed in the past, but a Secretariat race comes up, I'll sit and watch that race every single time. I cannot get enough of watching that horse run.
Yeah, as you should. And think about this, right? We're talking 1973, right, when Secretariat won the Triple Crown. He still holds the time records for the Derby, the Preakness, and the Belmont. All these years later, in fact, there's a prop up there that I can tell you I don't want anybody betting it at Bet Online. Will Secretariat's record of 159.4 be beaten in the Derby? It's 15 to 1. Don't take the 15 to 1. It is not getting beaten tomorrow.
With all the advances in training and technology, and even with horses' nutrition and everything else, all that stuff, it is insane that no horse has beaten any of those times over the course of 53 years now.
Yeah, now it really is. And somebody actually asked me that question yesterday. I think the way to look at it is this. There are a lot of track records that regularly get broken in horse racing. So it's not like horses don't get faster. It's just that horse was such an anomaly. It was so ridiculous what he did that nobody's been. It's not that they can't run faster. They just can't run as fast as Secretariat did 53 years ago.
And I want to say one of the very few times he was beaten in any race, they found out a day or two later that he had been sick, right?
Correct. That was the Wood Memorial. That was the race prior to the Derby in 73. He had like an abscess, which, for horses, it's just very painful. So he just wasn't able to run his best. There were some questions about him coming into the Derby, and all he did in the Derby was run each quarter mile faster than the preceding one, which does not happen in any sport, right? Everybody's slowing down. It's just the nature of sports, right? There's an optical illusion sometimes that look like they're running fast, but Secretariat's final quarter mile in the Derby was 23 seconds flat. That is unheard of. That does not happen.
Insane. Great info. Great conversation. We appreciate it. We're looking forward to the Derby tomorrow, and we'll see how it goes. I'm writing that box down. Thank you, sir.
You got it. Thanks, guys.
All right. Dick Girardi joining us there from Bet Online. But, man, I that's one of those things. I will stop and watch that every single year. They call it, Mark, the most exciting 2 minutes in sports. And they may not be wrong.
No, they're not wrong. And you get yelled at if you're a bartender and you don't have it on the day of the Derby. Oh, there's a bartender at the country club back in the day, and like, turn the race on. I'm like, oh, my bad, sorry. Apologies, lady.
Yeah, you're a very sharp dresser, James. What would your Derby Derby attire look like with an excuse to go to the extreme?
I would be so clean. Oh my goodness. I feel like I would definitely have on some brighter colors. And Mark, I would try to dress like, I'm going to like preach on Easter Sunday. I'm going to bring word.
Eggshell pink, maybe?
Oh, yeah. It got to be great. And again, I've learned the ways of the land. I told Kevin, and Mark, Jeff, you ever want to see a little Kentucky Derby preview, just go to a black church on Sunday. You're going to see all the hats from grandmothers and grandmas you ever want to see. My grandma and all her friends, you learn how to tilt the head, Mark. You learn how to tilt the head, give them a little peck on the cheek to not mess up the hat, because the hat is essentially the outfit.
Right?
And then you learn where to sit in church, because if you sit behind the wrong hat, you ain't going to see none of the service.
See a lot of feathers and stuff,
exactly.
But at the same time, preacher can't see you if you're not exactly paying attention either.
Oh, I always pay attention in Sunday, in church. I was always very attentive.
Every teenage boy ever pays attention to every word at church, right?
Hey, if you knew who Miss Boyd was, shout out to Dorothy Boyd, you definitely were paying attention. Otherwise, you're going to get popped.
Or at least faking that you're paying attention, right?
There you go.
Mark, what would your attire look like?
At church? Or at the Kentucky Derby?
Okay, either. Which one is going to be nicer?
Kentucky Derby.
I was going to say for our date later tonight, Mark, what do you mean what your attire is going to look like?
Attire for the Kentucky Derby, I'm going to go Lloyd Christmas from Dumb and Dumber and do the bright orange. Let's do that. Loud and proud. Let's go.
Oh, my gosh.
I will wear that suit before I'm in the ground.
I'd probably be fairly nice and clean but conservative. You know me, James. Be a nice suit, nice tie, something like that.
That sounds boring. We got to get you in some lime green.
Look like the dude from the Savannah Bananas, Jeff. Get the bright yellow going.
Savannah, there you go. Now I'm seeing the vision. I am seeing the vision.
That's where we're at right now. That's what we're looking at.
I will say though, I do think there's a couple of bucket list sporting events that I feel like I have to get to before I leave here. So
let's hold that thought. That might be an I gotta know question coming up. We can do in the next
I will
segment
hold
there.
that thought because I'm just thinking like, man, I gotta get around. And I've been very fortunate, very blessed. I mean, to check the NBA Finals off the list recently. I still want to get to the Super Bowl. I don't know if I'll be going there with the Colts with me. That might be something of a solo trip, hopefully. But there's a couple of different things in it. With the Fever playing pretty well last year, could they get to a WNBA Finals this year? That would be a bucket list item for me as well. So
that would be cool.
The cool thing about, I guess, Indianapolis is if you want to check some of those things off, they come right to you. Final Four is here.
Now, I've not been I will say this, though. I've not been to a WNBA Finals game. I did call a conference finals. That was as close as I got.
Derek White says I'm too young for a bucket list. No, I am too. No, I'm not.
Start checking them out.
Tomorrow's not promised.
Get ahead,
Derek White.
Get a head start too,
exactly.
right?
I mean,
Let's go.
I'm trying to make sure I get it all done.
Mark, what is your big sports bucket list item?
He's teasing us. We have to say this for I gotta know
phone here. But I have a few that I will save for the I gotta know segment. But yes, I have some. I've written them down. I've already started some of those, but some are a little longer to do than others.
Now, one thing I do want to pass along, because the winner of our Sanzo Grand Prix tickets just texted you back and said, "Hey, appreciate the wrestling convos!" ! Eddie White yesterday on the golf course is not appreciative of all the wrestling talk.
Well, Eddie White is a great human being, but I understand I need to educate him in the form of wrestling because he's just like, well, that stuff's not real. I'm like, well, not every movie you see is real. You got to suspend belief a little bit.
Transformers isn't real?
Tell that to Tyrese Halliburton and see how that goes over. Tell him it's not real. It's real to me, damn it.
It's all that matters, Mark. It's real to you. Let's check it down.
The Morning Checkdown on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
All right, speaking of the WNBA, the Indiana Fever played their second preseason game last night. They were over at the Fieldhouse. You were there, James. The Wings win over the Fever 95-80. Caitlin Clark did score 21 points, but all anybody talked about at the end of the game was, man, everybody held their breath for a minute because it looked like Caitlin Clark might have gotten hurt again.
Yeah, she's fine. She said she just banged her knee after a landing zone foul, which in English means that she shot the three. They didn't allow her to land safely on the floor. Kind of got undercut there. So flagrant foul, came out of the game, did not return, but Stephanie White and Caitlin Clark don't seem like it's a big deal. Said she was going to come out early in the third quarter anyway. So crisis avoided there. I'm more concerned about the defense. The defense was awful yesterday as Paige Beckers went off, 20 points in 20 minutes.
She's going to do that for a lot of teams, though, right?
Yeah, but still got to play better defense than that. And then AZ Fudd, number one pick this year, made her pro debut, at least preseason-wise, finished with 4 points in 16 minutes.
And again, preseason being preseason, Aaliyah Boston didn't play, Lexi Hull didn't play, a couple of other players didn't take part, just precautionary getting ready for the season, right?
Yeah.
All right, so no big deal there. Was a big deal in the NBA playoffs last night. The New York Knicks beat the Atlanta Hawks by a score of 140-89. They led by as many as 61, James, won by 51, to quote Mike Breen at the very end there, and they had a 51-point lead at the break. I've never seen anything like that. Obviously, it was an NBA record for the lead at halftime, but I just don't remember. The closest thing wasn't that long ago when Orlando just shut down the Hornets, and I think they were up by mid-40s for a while, but never 50 in the first half. It was insane last night.
Yeah, that was quite the beatdown. I haven't seen a beatdown like that since I've, watched some. I won't disparage the kids, but I've seen some lopsided games in high school football.
And Mark Dykton swatting away baskets against his daughters in the basement.
You know it. Get those shots up or don't throw them up at all.
I know. I feel like KB's ducking me because I've been asking for my one-on-one with Max Bowen for over a year now.
That's why I took the day off today.
I know.
You had to
He
get
better
out
not
of
be
the
getting
state
no
lines.
training. He better not be going to Chicago to, channel the spirit of Isaiah Thomas and Derrick Rose.
140 to 89 was the exact final. Joji Anunoby, former IU player, 29 points. Mikal Bridges had 24. The Nuggets are done. Beaten by the Minnesota Timberwolves, James, in a game you predicted, even though the Nuggets were 7.5-point favorites by tip time. Minnesota beats them 110-98 without three of their top scorers.
Yeah, and see, this is why you can't trust Nuggets unless they're Dino Nuggets. I should get like an advertisement for that. I talk about those things so much.
It's like the seventh reference to Dino Nuggets in 2 days, isn't it, Mark?
He's up there. He's trying to get a sponsorship.
It's consistent.
I respect
it. Gets
it.
the job done. I mean, have you ever seen a Nugget take out a Timberwolf? What kind of matchup is that?
Mark
Let's
just
be for
wants a
real.
legendary tenderloin sponsorship.
Oh, I was so mad I couldn't get one of those yesterday because those things were outstanding.
Oh, look at this slander from Hoosier 1997 on the YouTube chat. James will be dripped out in his baby Gap suit at the Kentucky Derby.
I laughed out loud at that.
You know what? My nickname is Indiana Bones. And so maybe I would be dripped out. Maybe it wouldn't cost me as much. How about that? Have you thought about that? Hoosier 97?
I'm just wondering, though, when you look at that outfit in the mirror, do you see 6'2", 220?
Yeah, I see whatever I want to see. I see
Okay.
the sexiest
checking
man
in.
alive. But, this is a family show. Keep it appropriate.
Philadelphia 76ers beat the Boston Celtics 106-93. That series is tied at 3. Getting a little tight for the Celtics for Game 7, isn't it?
Yes. This would be so chaotically funny, because I'm not covering it, if the Celtics blew, what was it, a 3-1 lead?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. That would be something.
They could take Mike Vrabel off the front pages in Boston.
He has probably bigger problems on tap right now than the Celtics.
All right. Later on tonight, 3 teams trying to force a Game 7 and staying alive. Detroit trails the Magic 3-2. They're in Orlando, but you like the Pistons in this one.
Yeah, give me Cade Cunningham, man. Let's get it done. I need another 40 ball from you. And can anybody else on the Pistons make a shot? Can Jalen Duren, who is, by the way, a first-time All-Star this year, look like an All-Star for once in this series? He's been, pretty average, so he's lost himself a ton of money. He was due for an extension. I would not give him a max contract, but can you show up for at least one night and help out Cade Cunningham? Because I expect that dude to show up.
The Lakers will be in Houston trying to close out that series, but if the Rockets win at home, that'll be tied up at 3 games apiece. And Cleveland will try to shut down Toronto on the road. They lead 3-2, but you like the Raptors in that one.
Yeah, give me the Raps. Again, a Raptor and a Cavalier, if you just match them up, I think the Raptor probably wins that one.
All right. It is, what's the date on the calendar today, Mark Dykton?
May 1st.
May 1st. It's officially the month of May. Tune in tonight at 7 o'clock for Trackside, the very latest on what's going on as we prepare for the San Joe Grand Prix. And, of course, then the big one, the Indy 500, coming up a little bit later on this month. It'll be Kurt and Kevin later on tonight. And then you've got Beyond the Bricks with Jake Query and Mike Thompson right after that, Monday through Friday for the rest of the month. We'll get you ready to go with those 2 shows at those times. And that, of course, is an update today from the Hensley Legal Group Command Center. It happens. Hire Hensley. Moving on to Major League Baseball, the Cincinnati Reds. Back in the win column yesterday, Mark, 6-4 against the Rockies. Are we going to have Cubs and Reds atop the Central all season long?
Say that again?
Are we going to have the Reds and Cubs up atop the Central all year?
I don't know. Reds and Cubs play each other after the Diamondbacks series, so that should be an interesting one at Wrigley. So Kevin just missing the Reds at Wrigley, but he'll be there for the Diamondbacks series. So that should be an interesting next 6 straight games for the Cubs.
All right. St. Louis Cardinals beat the Pirates by a score of 10-5. And I've got to mention this, Mark. The Mets lost again yesterday to the Washington Nationals. They are just, it's the old cliche, a disaster of a grease fire in a dumpster rolling down the street, man. Just everything that could go wrong is going wrong there.
Is Carlos Mendoza going to make it through the weekend? Because I feel like they've already fired a couple managers in baseball. He seems to be right on the firing squad next.
We'll see. Memphis Redbirds beat the Indianapolis Indians last night in Memphis 5-2. They will play again tonight, 8:05 our time. And Anthony Richardson will learn his Indianapolis Colts fate to some extent later on today.
Yeah, and so I'll try to track down confirmation myself. But again, the dean, Mike Chappell, over at Fox 59, reported yesterday that the Colts will decline or have declined Anthony Richardson's fifth-year option that would have paid him a fully guaranteed $22.5 million in 2027. Not a surprise at all. Anthony has started 15 games to his first 2 seasons, did not play or did not start at all last year, dealt with the eye injury and things like that. And it just signifies to me that we're getting closer and closer to the end of his tenure in Indianapolis, whether that's this year via trade or being released, or next year when he becomes an unrestricted free agent.
All right, that's what's happening in the world of sports right here, right now. It's been brought to you by Bet365. With Bet365 early payout, you win even if they lose. Get paid out instantly when your team goes up big, even if they blow the lead later. Bet365, winning is everything. For a look at what the day looks like today, as the storm clouds are still out there, although it appears dry right now. Let's check in with Fox 59 meteorologist Jim O'Brien.
Shower chances will continue across the area for today, but more limited in coverage throughout the afternoon. Still a cool day to open up May with a high at 54. Tonight, a frost advisory with clearing skies and a low tonight down to 35. I'm Fox 59 meteorologist Jim O'Brien for The Fan.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Good morning, whether you're just joining us right now or you've been with us all morning long. We sure appreciate you being here and taking us along for the ride at 93.5 FM, 107.5 FM. You can listen to us on the 107.5 The Fan app. Go to 107.5thefan.com. You can watch us on YouTube. Am I missing? I feel like I'm missing something, Mark.
You can look out the window, come to our parking lot. You can look in the window at us. We'll give you a wave.
There you go. In the meantime, Mark Dykton, it's Friday. We need some great vibes to finish the week here and get ready for the Kentucky Derby tomorrow and everything else that comes our way. And I know you have just the thing.
He's got questions.
How about a game?
They've got answers.
Hey, I'm more of a cornhole man myself.
Sports, music, movies. What? High fashion.
That Hansel's so hot right now.
And everything in between.
You ever seen a foot with 4 toes?
It's time to get a glimpse into the mind of Mark Dykton.
Stop it, you're scaring me.
It's time for I Gotta Know.
Okay, you two punks, I want a good, clean fight. Let's get it on.
All right, boys, we talked about in the last segment. I said let's table this. Let's go back to it. So, the bucket list sports item you want to do. Jeff mentioned the Kentucky Derby and Masters. I don't know if there's any other ones on there. I have 2 that I'm actively working on, but it's going to take some time. I want to visit all 32 NFL stadiums and all 30 Major League Baseball parks.
That's cool.
I would like to do that. Now, I've gotten stuff accomplished. I want to see all the teams, but I want to go to each individual building. But, of course, NFL stadiums are popping up like every other year now, so it's getting hard to kind of keep track of everything. But those are 2 atop my bucket list.
Okay, well, I'll keep it local for my first one. I want to get to the top 10 biggest gyms in Indiana for a high school basketball game.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I think I've been to maybe 5. The next one that's up on the list, at least locally, is probably Seymour. I haven't been there yet. But yeah, I've seen the stories about all the matchups throughout the years, and whenever you tell somebody, hey, I've been to this gym, they're like, oh, back in the day, this person played there. So I like kind of taking those historical adventures and seeing good hoops. And then from a professional sports standpoint, I'll go a little outside the box here. Probably the World Cup. I'm not a huge soccer fan, but I love the energy of it, and it always gets me to watch, and just how crazy the fans get, the entire country gets, if your team advances or loses. I want to be around that because that seems like it's even bigger than, I would argue, like the NBA Finals, WNBA Finals, even the Super Bowl, because it's every 4 years, and they just love soccer so much, especially internationally.
Yeah, that would probably be pretty cool. But locally, I know this sounds crazy. It's probably unique to me, but I think a lot of people would also get it. I want to go see the Little 500 one of these years, Mark.
It's not a bad one.
Did you see the finish of this year's 500 on video?
No.
Huge crash on the last lap. Guys flying over handlebars, and I think the team that had won the last couple of years won it again after the crash. It's crazy. That would be fun. And then I talked about it a little earlier. I got to go to the Masters at some point in time, don't I?
Yeah, that's on my list too. I think everybody's got that. At least you got to get one badge to go out there and just take in a round or 2.
So is the Masters invite only? How does that work?
No. You got to apply for a credential and you go from there.
Like,
for me, or it's you can get into. I think it's a little bit like a lottery to buy tickets, just because you.
That's what I was asking.
Yeah.
Interesting. So you have to be in the lottery. I think Kevin explained this.
Yeah.
You have to kind of be in the lottery, get selected, and then pay for the tickets.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
Or you have to know someone who knows someone who knows someone, basically.
Well,
I
I'm
will
going to
tell
call
you,
Tiger Woods next time I see him and say, hey, you don't need these. I need, a couple of.
I've been incredibly
jackets.
fortunate, though, Mark. I mean, I've gotten to do Winter and Summer Olympics. I've gotten to do NBA finals. I've been to a World Series game. I've done several Super Bowls, Final Fours, all kinds of stuff like that. I've been really, really lucky. And to do a couple of those other things, I think would be awesome. Luckiest guy in the world. No question about it. I've been the luckiest guy in the world.
I would say that's a pretty good rap sheet right there. All right, you get control of. We're just talking lottery.
Why are you bringing up my rap sheet?
I'm saying just with your credentials there. All right, we talked lottery just a second ago. You get control of the Pacers following the draft lottery. Are you keeping the pick, trading the pick, and if you're going to try to get a veteran who is a realistic veteran, you're adding to this roster?
So if I win the lottery, am I keeping the pick or trading? I guess it depends on where the pick is.
You make let's say it's not the top pick. So let's say you get 2 to 4.
Ooh, 2 through 4. I'm gonna say I keep the pick, man. I just feel like I told you all yesterday, I believe, when we were out at Legends Golf Course. The last time I believe the Pacers traded a pick that was this high was when they passed on Larry Bird.
Oh.
So Lord knows I could not live with myself if that happened again. Could you imagine passing on Darren Peterson? I get it. He might be a little, trepidation there because of the weird season that he had. But if you pass on that kid and he becomes like a 10-time All-Star and a 2-time MVP or something like that, I would never forgive myself.
I think you want to keep the pick if you can, mostly because, like anything else, a little bit of cost certainty at least the first year or two, right? That's going to help you out a little bit. So there's nothing wrong with that. I brought up a name, which I don't know if they'll be able to afford when it's all said and done, but he kind of broke out in these playoffs. But you know who's going to be a free agent at the age of 26? Ayu Dosunmu.
Yeah, that's true. He is awesome. It still baffles me that the Bulls couldn't get more than a second-round pick for him. But he's been awesome. I think he's a great...
He's truly a point guard, though, so I don't know how much that mixes, but that was just one of the names that caught my eye.
You could always use talent like that, especially coming off the bench, being the sixth man for you or something, just because you don't know what you're going to get with Tyrese immediately coming out of the season. I would love to see in a Pacers uniform, quite honestly. That would actually be a pretty good get if they could get it.
Is that really realistic, though, James, for me to bring that up?
Nah, it's probably not realistic because he's a point guard. And you already got two really good ones with Andrew Nembhard and Tyrese Halliburton. But nevertheless, good player, and I would imagine the Timberwolves want to keep him.
He is going to get paid. All right, who will lead the Colts in sacks in 2026?
Oh, boy. It better be Latu, and it better be double digits. That's the easy pick, but I guess to kind of pivot the question a little bit, Mark, or tweak it, who will lead the Colts in sacks besides Latu? Man,
if you want to go there, I'm not sure that Latu. I mean, I think he could. I don't know if he will.
What do you mean you think he could? He better.
He better.
Oh my gosh.
What if C.J. Allen has a breakout rookie season? You're gonna
he's a
poo-poo that?
linebacker. That's
You're
what I
gonna
mean.
poo-poo that?
Yeah. I'm gonna poo-poo that. Like if C.J. Allen has a breakout linebacker year
Latu's
with
drawing
10
doubles,
sacks,
and C.J. Allen's breaking free
no
and
way.
taking down
I am
QB.
not gonna say the linebacker is gonna have more sacks than the defensive end.
C.J. Allen's gonna go ham.
Oh,
Watch
Lord.
it right now.
Well,
Mark it down.
That would be a good problem to have if you're telling me that, Latu had 11 sacks and then CJ had 11 and a half or something, which would be just nuts. But for the sake of
You want to hear the sad
question,
answer? Go ahead.
Again, I'm gonna say Latu, and Mark, it better be him.
You want to hear the sad answer?
Yes.
A healthy DeForest Buckner. That's the sad answer.
Well, I'd be happy if he's healthy. Let's keep the word healthy in front of DeForest
That is a
Buckner.
possibility.
No, but I mean, if he has 7 or 8 sacks, he might be the guy.
Oh boy, yeah, that's a
No,
good
because
point
they're
you make.
talking about committee.
Yeah, no, that's a good point you make. He's a great player.
I'm also wondering, is the guy who's going to lead them in sacks even on the roster right now? Is he sitting at home at his home and waiting to get signed as a veteran free agent ahead of camp?
Right.
That might be where we're at there. So let's do one last one. The next big event not named the Indy 500 that you're looking forward to.
Do I tempt the gods if I say the WNBA Finals?
I don't think that's outlandish.
The event I want to cover, you said, or attend in Indianapolis?
Yes, the next big event not counting the 500.
Not counting the 500. I want to cover or be at a Colts playoff game.
That would work.
Well, that'd be a nice change of pace.
Yeah, I do. Because
I
mean,
sign off on that. That's
just-
mine too.
But
I
next
think-
would be in order.
I think the last the last playoff game that I think I've covered in Lucas Oil Stadium was for like a state championship. So yeah.
Good point. All right, Doug Bowles coming up next. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Ready to put a bow on the week, getting ready for the weekend, but we can't let the day pass without noting again, today is May 1st, and that means the month of May here in Indianapolis, the entire state of Indiana, leading up to a full month of activities over there in Speedway. And here to tell us all about it, and we'll have him hopefully every Friday leading up to the race, the one, the only, Doug Boles. Doug, it is the month of May, my man. What, was it 3:45 for you this morning? What was the wake-up time today?
Actually, it was hard to go to sleep last night, right? Because you want to be awake when the clock turns to 12 o'clock midnight, and then no, it was a little later than 3:45 today. I got to get a little sleep because now this is the run up where you don't get as much. So I was okay until about 5 o'clock this morning.
Doug, as you sit here today, and obviously with such a big event annually here in Indianapolis, in what ways do you think the Indianapolis 500 could be even better this upcoming year? I know it's always a priority for you all.
Yeah, I think we're, one of the biggest things we always have to do is focus on customer experience. And, we always have those challenges when you put 350,000 people in one location and you learn something every race, even though we've done it 109 times already. You're always learning something. I love the fact that our fans are so great at helping us think through how to make things better. So some of the investments we've made in the off season aren't going to be as noticeable as some of the things we've done over the last few years, but done a lot of work on some grandstand railings to help fans get up and down some of our steeper grandstands. We've done some audio work. We got a big $6.5 million project. That audio system is massive around the speedway so that people can hear better, especially when cars are on track. So a lot of those things. And then our biggest challenge every year is traffic. So just trying to work with local law enforcement to make sure that we do the best we can to get people in and out. The problem is when 350,000 people decide to leave at the exact same time, it's going to have some delay, but you always want to improve. So for us, it's really trying to work on that. So just trying to make it better every year. And I'll tell you what, our fans keep coming back and bringing people, and the 500 is healthy because of the people more than anything. And it's really great to see families coming in. I can't wait, man. I love May, and May 24th, my favorite day of the year.
So Doug, as you know, last year was my first 500 experience. I had a great time. It was certainly something that was a bucket list item for me, living in Indiana, living in Indianapolis. And now I'm trying to take a step further. I was telling Rakestraw, who will be, over at IMS, I'm sure, plenty of days leading up to the race. And he told me, okay, yeah, the cannons are cool. You want to experience that. But if you want to be a true Hoosier, I got to go to the Coke Lot. So do you have Coke Lot recommendations? He told me I got to hang out with JMV. But if I hang out with JMV, I'm not sure if I'll make it, or be up for the cannons the next day.
Yeah, that's a challenge, and I tend, one of my routines is to head out and with the campground and wander through Lot 1A, which is right on the corner of 25th and Georgetown, and then wander into the Coke Lot. I was out there with JMV when he was spinning some tunes. I had him play some Martin Briley for me when I was out there. You should do it. And you should actually do it in a reasonable way. And by that, I mean, go out at 11 and cut yourself off at 1 o'clock and go try and rest up a little bit so you can be up for the cannons. Yeah. But it's definitely worth it because there are a bunch of people that come and camp and never even come into the racetrack. Their experience of the race is hanging out with their friends, enjoying just all of the people that are around, and then they'll sleep in and listen on the radio and grill and do whatever in the campground. But really, from 11 o'clock at night to 1 o'clock in the morning, it's pretty fun. There's a group of folks right at the corner of 25th and Georgetown that I stop by every night before the 500, and at midnight, all these folks come and we sing Back Home Again in Indiana, and I'm probably the only sober one doing it. And every once in a while, I'll go ahead and have a beer with them just to help celebrate the fact that race day is here. So if you need somebody to hang out with, just come walk with me, and we'll have some fun that night.
All right,
you'll get your steps in, James. I promise you that.
Hey, nothing's wrong with that. I'll be sober as well, Doug. But I appreciate the advice.
What is a typical day of steps for you? Do you count?
Yeah, I do count because I'm trying to make sure I keep myself in shape. I don't know, a typical day, a practice day is probably in the 20,000 range. And then on our busier days, we could be, 35,000, 40 steps and probably 50 flights of stairs because I'm walking up and down grandstands, talking to customers, checking on things. it's always kind of fun to see what it looks like at the end of the day. And then you get to winter, right? And I'll have a day where I'll get like 4,000 steps in a day. And I'll think, what is wrong with me? I sat around all day today. So I love the month of May, and I hate to sit, man. My ADD gets me, and I just got to get going.
Well, it's always fun to just have you on Carb Day. It's fun to have you on all the time. We know that you're constantly working hard to make every race every year, as James started this conversation, bigger and better and badder. What are you most proud of over the last 5 years?
I'm most proud of two things. One of them is just how resilient the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and the IndyCar staff has been. You know, obviously coming out of 2020 and COVID, having to have a race with nobody there, and then half the crowd for 2021, and then just being able to focus on getting back to normal for our customers. So we're just really proud of the amazing team that cares about this place and this event, 365 days a year. But I'm probably prouder of the fan base. I mean, the way that the 350,000 people that come to the race put their arms around it, celebrate it, introduce new people to it, bring family members. There's nothing better than an Indianapolis 500 fan. And people often say, well, why is the Indy 500 so successful? And frankly, it has something to do with the race, obviously, but it's really because of the people and the way the people that show up make it a tradition, where they sit, where they park, who they bring, what they put in their cooler. I mean, all of those things, you can't thank the customer and the fan that comes to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and the Indy 500 enough. And I'm a huge fan too. So I'm just really proud of all of us as fans that say, hey, come on, we're going to continue to make this the biggest sporting event in the world. And that's what I'm proud of. So those two things. Well,
Like I said, it's month of May. We're all excited around here for whatever it's worth. I didn't sleep last night either. There's so much for us to do, and we're so happy to be partnered with you and all the different programs and things that we do and getting over there. And one of my favorite things to do every year, and it sounds crazy, and James, you might relate to this, I just look forward to going to pick up my credential every year, Doug. Something as simple as that gets me going.
It's one of those things that just reminds you that it reminds you that it's May, but it also reminds you summer's around the corner. There's just something about summer in Indiana and just, the excitement that we have and getting everybody in our community out and, walking downtown Indianapolis and having people around. And it's a longer walk for you guys now, but at least, you're right downtown, so it's easy for you guys to get there. And then for me, Main Street in the town of Speedway has become so much fun in the summer. So all of those things, getting your tickets, getting your credentials, those are all just signs of summer around the corner for all of us here in Indiana.
Nothing better right now than breakfast at Charlie Brown's. I'll be there a couple times, I'm sure.
And you always see somebody there. That's the great part about it. You always look over and go, wow, is that AJ Foyt or is that? I mean, it is amazing the number of people. That's the tradition, right? So
yeah.
so many people go there, and you really never know who you'll see there, and that's part of the fun of going to Charlie Brown's.
Thanks as always for spending time with us, buddy. Look forward to this month of May and seeing and talking to you, and just enjoy it all. Thanks.
All right, and we'll talk to you next Friday on our opening day for Sancio Grand Prix, so we'll have some racing to talk about.
Can't wait. There's Doug Bowles, Indianapolis Motor Speedway, just everything. The whole series, the man does it all. That report brought to you by the Hensley Legal Group as part of the Command Center. It happens. Hire Hensley, and that is going to wrap it up for us this week. We've had the Fan Invitational. We're kicking off the month of May.
Can I give a quick shout out?
Yes, please.
Shout out to my mom. She retires today.
Oh.
Mama, I'll see you later. You ain't got to clock in no more, baby.
And
Let's go.
I want to shout out everybody, sponsors, players, celebrities that made yesterday so much fun down at Legends.